just me.
Jack, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see, it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown, I quit.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense. But it makes
yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, okay, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, you would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
Yes, I look and see, it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see, it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Living wild. Yeah.
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
No! Damn shot! Yeah!
At the ring.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is it. I didn't.
Let's go. Go see a watch out of that and call, baby.
He's okay?
I think so. He just needed a minute.
Okay.
Seriously, every single day, I read things like, I miss Adam Cole. The thing is, the bad news, it's not for me.
Hey.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
Feels so good. I'm so happy.
Let's f***ing go, Tuesday.
No! Damn shot!
Come Tuesday, I'll make sure I bring the hardwood.
I need to come! Please come!
I came in the game really hard. Big ass balls.
What happens when you rip the balls off of a bull?
What exactly is a nature boy? Do you like nature? Do you like boys?
What you did by putting your hands on me was entered the zone. My zone. You just scored on me. Come! Damn it!
I'm right here for you.
The Rock's ass.
Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guys, Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup, best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup, living legend of the fight. Just a call away from making it right. Never see him back hard, no way. Got the whole roster locked in for the day. A Crimson Tower of modern art. Triple cup. Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guys, Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup, best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup, living legend of the fight. Just a call away from making it right. Never see him back hard, no way. Got the whole roster locked in for the day. A Crimson Tower of modern art. Triple cup. Triple cup.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to PWT Live Show. We're back this week, baby. Yeah. Let's go. I am your host, the infallible Phil S. Marks.
You are a naive, brainless, pathetic, idiotic, clueless, dumbass Mark.
And this is PWT Live Show Wednesday night, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you are hitting the like button and all of those good things. Telling a friend and whatnot. And on Kick, I think we're able to gift subs once I finish my verification. So shout out the few of you who check me out over at Kick. And I appreciate you guys so much for being here. What a week. We missed Memba Monday this week. I got some dental work done. And so I don't know. I was kind of drooling on myself the last couple days. Today we're pretty good. And I think it should be a fun show. It's jam-packed, folks. There is a TNA roster mass exodus going on. If you're over at youtube.com/ProWrestleClips, you will see there's a poll in the chat there, and it is who's coping harder. Now, I am actually going to take this poll. Who is coping the hardest today? And I'm going to transfer this poll over here. It's over here now. Okay, that's what I think of it. That's where I am. And I'm going to transfer this poll over to the main screen. And I want to know who's coping the hardest today. Is it Will Ospreay? Is it Paul Walter Hauser? Is it the TNA Wrestling fans? Or is it Dave Meltzer? Just because, I mean, come on. Do we really need an explanation? So 1 for Will Ospreay, 2 for Paul Walter Hauser, 3 for TNA Wrestling fans, or 4 Dave Meltzer. Just because. So, ladies and gentlemen, I need you guys to vote in this poll. It is on your screen wherever you're watching the show. 1, 2, 3, or 4 in chat. 1 for Will Ospreay, 2 for Paul Walter Hauser, 3 for TNA Wrestling fans, 4 for Dave Meltzer. Who is coping the hardest today? I want to know what you guys think. Over on YouTube, let's read the results of the YouTubers. We're ending it right now. And 22% of y'all said Paul Walter Hauser, 33% said Will Ospreay, then of course 45% said Dave Meltzer, Brian. Because you know that he's always,
or, you know, the
good.
young superstar, you know, babyface, you know, that former heel thing. So
we have a TNA roster and talent mass exodus. We have Will Ospreay having a cope session over AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's failed partnership. Yota Tsuji had some comments. Again, just solidifying what I've said. Tony and AEW and them don't fuck with him for whatever reason, because he actually shoots on AEW and Tony Khan and doesn't fake shoot on AEW and Tony Khan like Gabe Kidd and shit. So they actually hate that guy. Paul Walter Hauser has a WWE and Roman Reigns meltdown again. He's melting. So we're going to check in with old Frosty, Paul Walter Hauser, and see what's going on over there. Let's check in with chat. Rabid Wolverine Elsie Killer 17 for 2 sweet says Paul Walter Hauser is down with the sickness. Open up your 8 and to me. You're absolutely right. He's a full-blown sicko, which is fine. You just got to be honest about it. You can't cope like he's doing and do this mental gymnastics shit where he tries to tell people if they don't think a certain way, they're fucking wrong. You know? So, let me check in here with this chat. It is storming crazy here, guys, as well. So if anything happens, if we go down, you'll know why. CWJ1288 for 5 says, hello, hope you are well. Can Dave explain how AEW roster budget is almost as much as WWE, but their gates are about 1.6 and merch about 120? Thanks. Well, I don't know if Dave can explain. You'd have to ask Dave Meltzer that, but I don't think he's capable of explaining that. I don't think... I don't know if we can prove that their roster budget is almost as much as WWE either. I'm not saying it isn't, but can we actually prove that? Has anybody been able to prove that or can verify that? Okay, just getting a message there. So yeah, and I hope you're well as well. And I have no clue what their talent budgets are, but no, you can't make sense of any of this shit. And once you have that guaranteed money, you know, people start to trim their rosters down and stuff. We're going to talk about that more as it pertains to TNA tonight. And I can't wait to get into things. Keep voting, guys. So again, vote in the poll. Who is coping the hardest today? Will Ospreay. 1 for Will Ospreay, 2 for Paul Walter Hauser, 3 for TNA Wrestling fans, or 4 for David F. Meltzer. And in the interim, hit like, subscribe, all that good shit. You can super chat in or check out patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times. And yeah, shout everybody out. So let's get into, to start things off this evening, we are actually going to start with, and we have a little bit of miscellaneous news, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the official G1 Climax participants and blocks. The G1 Climax, I heard it's a myth. The IWGP Tag Team Champions will take 2 of the remaining spots. The play-in stage will complete the field. So yeah, Gabe Kidd's in this thing, even though he signed with AEW. You see some names. Takeshita's in there. Tsuji's in there. Sonata, Callum Newman, Zack Sabre Jr., who I guess all of a sudden... is facing Kenny Omega. Like, Kenny Omega's just calling him out for Forbidden Door and is like, yeah, I can't wait for this match. Shota Umino, Yuya Uemura. They got some guys. In New Japan, Haruki Goto, of course, but, you know, Tone gutted them, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So you guys just take a good look. Ren Narita's in there. Shingo Takagi. Bolton Oleg, who apparently I think WWE was interested in. So if you guys are into the G1 Climax, check it out. Check it out. So New Japan World ditched AEW. Now, a lot of people were like, oh, that's an own, and MLW's getting scooped up, and why would New Japan not work with AEW, but they're working with MLW, And I get it. I know that, like, some of the wackos and some of the people in the IWC want to, like, smash and get one up on the
Smash
sickos.
your knee to obliterate.
But AEW took their shit off of New Japan World, if I may defend AEW here for just a minute. Okay? AEW is doing My AEW, and they're going to roll that out in Japan, and they want their own streaming thing. Okay, so yes, they signed a little thing. They have a fast channel on Tubi, and they're on Tubi. Their old episodes are on Tubi and shit. That's awesome. That's just to promote old AEW. It's not like, oh, their new episodes will be on there and shit. That's just to promote old AEW to get people to the My AEW app, essentially. So it's not really an L for AEW. I mean, unless they pull themselves off New Japan World, and then it's like this crazy fucking failure of an endeavor as far as My AEW is concerned. But as far as this is concerned here, New Japan picked up MLW Fusion. And so that's a W for MLW. And I'm not saying I'm going to watch it or whatever, but like it'll be out there in Japan. People will get to see MLW who may not be able to on YouTube. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but it'll be there for the New Japan fans. And they obviously want American companies involved with them that they work with. I believe New Japan works with MLW and CMLL works with MLW as well. But it's not an L for AEW to leave and then New Japan picks up MLW. It's obviously there's like a void that maybe could be filled. Like maybe there is some AEW fans who were watching on New Japan World, and then they can slide this in there, and maybe some people might like MLW better. Who knows? But Tone is the one who pulled all of AEW stuff off of New Japan World for My AEW. Okay, so we can't get that twisted. We got to be fair. We got to be fair to AEW. Speaking of Japan, an earthquake hit during a match in Noah. A legit earthquake happened.
Deep arm drag. Same on Sugiura. We're experiencing an earthquake here in Tokyo, and it's a fairly sizable one.
Yeah, we are shaking on the 5th floor here. Notifications on everyone's phone.
We're just going to pause for a moment.
Yeah, I think kind of Kiyomiya is just going to hold on proceedings here.
Everybody's phones went off with the national alert. Still shaking slightly here in the venue up on the 5th floor of Korakuen Hall. Naito, though, is tranquilo.
Has this been triggered by Jonetsu Max warming up, perhaps?
The referees decide to stop the clock for a moment. Deep arm drag.
Yeah, kind of crazy. I thought they meant Tenta came through. No. So we move along here, and we talked a little bit about AEW. This is in miscellaneous news. Kayla Braxton comments on not wanting to go to AEW or any other company after leaving WWE. She says, I think when I left WWE, I made it very clear I was not going to AEW. So sorry, I'm just getting a message here that is important. Okay, everything's good over here, guys, but I got my eyes on my phone, and I'm a little bit distracted. Not to worry, though. Everything's good. I was not going to AEW or any other wrestling company. I think I quoted and said this on Twitter. Why would I leave the biggest wrestling company in the world to go to another? Why? Obviously, I wanted to do something else besides wrestling. So there you go. And hopefully she sticks to that then. I mean, I wouldn't blame her if she showed up in AEW or anywhere else, but it was clear she wanted to get into acting and whatnot. And going to AEW would just like, why? It's regressing. You know, you get more money, but then it's like you're just doing shit for more money. That's not always the most fulfilling thing in the world, okay? So Alex Kane is inevitable. Tweeted this out. Alex Kane says, so MLW had no problem with having my matches on my YouTube for all these years, and now they want me to take them down? Wild. Now, shout out Alex Kane, but it ain't that wild, bud. You know, they're making bigger and better plays. I think MLW is trying to position themselves to get a TV deal sooner or later. And why not? If you can bring in an extra 30 mil, you're already producing the shows and you can you know, like let's say they do a TNA level deal. What if they're beating TNA in the ratings and they get on something? Who knows? I think personally, that is the play that they're trying to make sooner or later. So they are going to crack down on YouTube. And of course, things are like AI now. So I'm sure they didn't go out of their way to physically they might have hired some or implemented some sort of AI detector for their online content. And yeah, I mean, you should be thankful that they allowed you to put your fucking matches on your YouTube, and I'm assuming monetize it this whole time. And let's be honest here. Yes, like, you know, an old video, it's good to just upload and repurpose content and things like that, because who knows, a video might go viral that didn't go viral the first time. Who knows? Maybe in a year, all of a sudden a video gets 1 million views. That's happened to people. But how many of those matches like are going to get views? When you search it up, what comes up? I'm more inclined to think MLW's content would or whatever. And so I ain't shitting on the dude, but they do own it. So again, this would be stuff I would voice like personally to Cord Bauer, whoever your connections are at MLW. I would just bring that up to them. And then maybe they go, oh, you know what? You can do that. But then when you take it to Twitter, someone might go, well, no, fuck you now because you took it public. You guys know what I'm saying? So that would be my advice to Alex Kane. Not that he even asked for it, but I'm offering it here at PWT. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was miscellaneous news.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
And good news for your boy Phil S. Marks over here. So let's get into some other news here, guys. We got some news. Who's got the news? We got the news. Rolling news and smoking news. And okay, so guys, make sure you vote in the poll as well, okay? Wherever you're watching, Kick, YouTube, X, whatever. Who is coping the hardest today? 1 for Will Ospreay, 2 for Paul Walter Hauser, 3 for TNA Wrestling fans, 4 for David F. Meltzer. Guys, we're going to get into this next segment after miscellaneous news, and I don't know. Do we want to do a dirt sheet fails today? There's not a lot in the dirt sheet fails folder. We might do some dirt sheet fails today. Chat will let me know if you guys want to do that. So in the interim, in the meantime, ladies and germs, it is time to get our aces and eights in the chat. Okay. Because it is time for TNA. It's like a refreshing drink. So guys, TNA, you know, they started gaining momentum. They brought back their retro aesthetic. They get a TV deal with AMC. They partner with WWE. They do some really, really, really cool shit. And they had all the momentum in the world. They had an amazing Bound for Glory show. We fast forward, let's say, I don't even think 6 months into all of this stuff taking place as far as the AMC TV deal is concerned. And it seems like they've sort of, I don't even want to say lost their way, because there is some good stuff like the Mr. Elegance. I like that stuff. The Elegance brand stuff is really good. The Hardys, they're just kind of doing their thing. You know, Sosa came back. That's cool, but he's just working with Eric Young, probably up next. Nemeth versus Santana is cool, and they did take a long way of getting there. but it seemed inevitable, like that's going to be a big main event for them, quote unquote, big main event for them. And some of their PLEs, I mean, their TVs do like 1,000 people if they're lucky. And some of their PLEs are doing like, or pay-per-views, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. They're doing like, I don't even know if they're doing 1,500 people for some of these events. They have Slammiversary coming up, going head-to-head with AEW for all the gold, all of the human golds. And we've seen in recent times, since the TV deal, so they bring $30 million in. So everybody's assuming, okay, they're going to bring some names in. They're going to make some plays with WWE. They're going to get a match out of AJ Styles. They're going to get a match out of, this guy or that guy. Maybe Mitchin goes down there and fucking does some stuff with BFAB or something. Who knows? Like, we could really get some attempts at popping ratings here, some cool crossover shit, and they have extra money, so maybe they're going to make some plays at some of these wrestlers. Maybe Cruel shows up there. Maybe Cross and Riddle could do what they're doing in MLW, in TNA. Maybe they'll spend some of this coin, and then some of their guys like Santana or Joe Hendry, like I don't want to say they're older, but like Joe Hendry's a little bit older, I guess, as far as like wrestling age is concerned. That you get around 40 and people start saying you're old and shit. So, you're like, let's say you're 37 and you want to have your run in WWE or NXT, or let's say you're a youngster like a Sosa or a Slater and you want to try your hand at NXT, or they can eye you up and help coach and develop you, give you access to the PC until you inevitably sign over there. Okay, that's cool. Now, like, let's see you guys bring in some big guns, and let's see you guys spend some of that money, and let's see you guys, push people like Tessa Blanchard or come up with some cool stories or whatever, okay? Expand your creative team, all of these things. This is what everybody was anticipating. And TNA hasn't, all is not lost, okay? They have not entirely failed, but we started to see some rockiness. Steph DeLander, SDL with a $ ho, was tweeting things out like, I had to consult in neck specialists or whatever by myself, and she was publicly tweeting out like, hey, TNA didn't help me with my fucking neck or whatever. Hey, TNA, WWE, can anyone help me find a fucking doctor? I'm cleared, but I need to know about how approaching this correctly, my return. So this results in her and Mance asking for their release and getting released, right? And then some other names recently too. Who recently left? I fucking forget. I want to say there's one or two other people. Mila Grace, whatever her name is, and Steve Macklin both left, right? And we heard Daria Ray, Sonya Deville's contract's coming up, or is up at this point, or coming up right away. And will they re-sign her? We don't know. And I'm not saying SDL is going to turn the business around and start beating Dynamite in the ratings. Not yet. Not if you don't build her up. But she's a character that you haven't seen all over AEW and you haven't seen all over WWE already. And you could have pushed her in TNA. A couple of these people, you're like, what the fuck? But like Steve Macklin moving on, I mean, that's not a huge what the fuck. It's kind of like, I mean, he has put a lot of work in there. But you're not like shocked by it. Okay, maybe Tone's offering him a bag. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like maybe they are trying to nickel and dime people. Maybe they're offering them less money. Who fucking knows? But I'm just reiterating all of this stuff to just kind of set up what's happening now, okay? And TNA's been in a bit of a lull. They've done some pretty bad ratings, if we're just being honest, in the hundreds of thousands. Yes, playoffs are on and whatnot. But their ratings haven't been the best. They haven't been doing gangbusters. Their attendances aren't getting better. And I don't know if the show week in, week out is everybody's favorite. It might not be as hot as it was at the beginning of the AMC run. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, they popped a rating. That first AMC episode was lit, and then it was whatever. Well, they maintained a lot of their ratings throughout that whole fucking time. But they just, they really have been getting hit, and it seems like the audience is shrinking and shrinking instead of slowly growing and growing into what I thought they have the potential historically to do, I think like 400,000 or something we said on AMC, but they're sort of seemingly going the other way. And we can be objective about that. And I want to point out, it's funny how everybody can just say that shit honestly about TNA, but you can't say that shit honestly about AEW.
Oh, come on now, Eric.
Without having the fucking Spurgs come out and Spurg about everything. So, one person who's very controversial that we haven't seen as much of, and let's not forget, by the way, about Scott D'Amore leaving TNA and the business side of that, where apparently the Anthem guys were a bunch of fucking jerk-offs over here, right? And Scott D'Amore was doing his own thing. Now he's on TSN with MLP in Canada and shit, and he's doing the damn thing, working with Tone. And one person that Scott D'Amore brought back, I believe it was Tessa Blanchard. That was him who brought her back. And love her or hate her, she was making waves. She was making headlines. She was infinitely, I would say, more popular than the majority of the women on the roster. No offense, that's not a knock on any of the women on the roster. I like a bunch of them, right? Especially Xia Li and Xia Brookside, and, you know, Indy Hartwell's dope. But Tessa was like having matches without the title because she doesn't need the fucking title. She's bigger than the title, you know? She's a former TNA world champ, if you really want to break it down. And she got brought back, and everybody, including myself, have been Phil S. fantasy bookmarksing. No, even fantasy mark booking matches for her and what she could do. And hey, is WWE trying to see if she can shake like the she's a racist chance getting thrown at her in order to make her way to NXT or WWE eventually or whatever. And we've all been talking about how Tessa Blanchard is one of the best women in the world, and definitely if she's going to be there, she should be featured prominently. They got a TV deal, you know. Tessa Blanchard really has a chance to fucking show she can draw and things of this nature, right? Well, what happens is she just kind of disappears, just like SDL with a $sign ho, just like a few of these people. You just kind of see, you know, Abyss comes back out of nowhere. They bring Allie in, but like Tessa Blanchard's kind of gone and nowhere to be found, right?
Let's talk about it.
And it turns out that when she made the announcement that she's returning to CMLL, and I had brought this up on the show, it's interesting how this could possibly create some turmoil. I mean, they must have dotted their I's and crossed their T's if she's able to sign with CMLL, even though TNA's partnered with WWE and CMLL's partnered with AEW, and we've seen TNA have to switch matches around and pull people off of shows, allegedly. I don't think they did. I think they just switched matches around and whatnot. And also, apparently, Carlos Silva got really fucking mad about AEW running on a Thursday and stuff.
Emotional damage.
And, you know, AEW brought in the Rascals and some other folks, and they brought in Mance, and there's rumors SDL will be there. There's rumors that Macklin might show up there. So again, there's a bit of a war going on, and AEW's really stuck it to them. And I had brought up, like, I'm sure they took care of business if she just straight up returned to CMLL and signed with them again. Because this is a while back that she made this announcement. But I did say we should look out for this, like, hey, there could be some turmoil, and it turns out it happened, which I don't know. I gave everyone the benefit of the doubt and was like, I don't think this will cause problems. I'm sure they just work this all out, but this is probably if she's signing with CMLL, it's probably a good sign she ain't going to WWE anytime soon. So, Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp report this. Tessa Blanchard had asked for and secured her release from TNA. Now, I'm sure Lincoln Hawk, if he's here, in the chat is tremendously pissed about this. Ha ha ha, I'm back. Who's been a member for 2 months says AEW's for dementia patients as they forget weekly why it is a shit show. Well, thank you for felting AEW in the middle of the TNA segment, but I appreciate that. And I suppose you're right. You know, if they just did pay-per-views, it would be much better. But I digress. If TNA maybe kept people like Tessa Blanchard around, it would be much better, to bring it back to TNA here. And it seems like there's some issues there. Now, what's going around is that Tessa Blanchard, I'm not sure if it says it any. Okay, so the common belief is that CMLL wanted Tessa Blanchard to choose between them and TNA. As they pay and book her more, she asked for her TNA release. So CMLL, the rumors are, said, hey, you need to pick us or TNA. Now, I don't know what's going on with all of that, but I would love to hear Dax Harwood crying about this.
Emotional damage.
Remember when he's like, oh, we got two-timed. I was in AAA trying to feed my family, and they two-timed the tag titles off us. And so something was fishy, and I couldn't find Conan anywhere. And I'm like, I'm just trying to make money to feed my family, right? And then there was this whole like conspiracy theory about how fucking it was a double cross in AAA, and it was fishy. And then WWE ended up scooping up AAA, and people were like, that's why. Right? And so I'm curious if the same people are going to raise the same questions and melt down about this and talk about how, oh, it's a conspiracy. CMLL doesn't want Tessa Blanchard working with TNA, whatever. But this, to me, is a bad sign for her ever making it in or going to WWE, which she may never want to do or care about. Some people thought she'd get an NXT run. That ain't happening. Now, could WWE buy her out of her contract? Could one day we see her pop up in AAA when her CMLL deal's up and they poach her that way? Probably, maybe. But how long did she sign for, and how good are they paying her? And it's not like CMLL ain't doing good business, but how good are they paying her for her to just be like, fuck TNA when they're on AMC and shit? Like, she's incapable of getting that American audience TV run now. And also, what the fuck is TNA doing where they're not using her enough and paying her good enough to keep her the fuck away from CMLL? You know what I mean? I just don't really know what's going on with all of that and why TNA can't ever get their shit together. They have all the momentum, they just squander it. And a lot of people are like, well, it's Carlos Silva. Well, maybe, but also maybe Anthem is trying to get too big for their britches now as well. And maybe Carlos Silva's not really in charge of all of this shit. I don't know. But she also, let me throw out this conspiracy theory too, which I don't think is that much of a conspiracy. It's just logical thinking, but perhaps Tessa Blanchard threw it on the company. Did you guys watch the movie Michael? To the force don't stop. Can't stop till you get enough to keep on. To the force stop. That movie's okay, but it's just going through his Wikipedia page. You know? Like, all of a sudden, he buys a monkey and then Thriller comes out. Or maybe the other way around, but either way, things just happen. He's, like, in the studio, and then all of a sudden, Thriller's out. And you're just like, okay, what the fuck? They just run through the Wikipedia page. It's like the Tupac movie. Notorious and Straight Outta Compton are much better movies, where they actually get into like the lives of these characters and stuff, or these like celebrities, I guess. But the movie Michael, a good film though. It was good filmmaking. The guy who played Michael Jackson was tremendous, but I forget the goddamn point I was even making about Michael. I just start going on a tangent about it, and I fucking forget what I was even saying. But make sure you guys watch Michael, I guess. So yeah, it's definitely weird. What was I even saying? I completely forget. Yeah, chat saying I like Michael, but Straight Outta Compton was better. JJ Alexander for 2 sweets says send me the link, bish. You want the link, JJ? You don't want the link. You don't want any part of this mess today. Okay. Shout you out though, bud. What's up? I like Michael, but Straight Outta Compton was better. Yeah, the Tupac movie and Michael were just like running through their Wikipedia pages. What was I saying right before that? Tessa and CMLL. I had some analogy I was making and relating it to the Michael movie. But then I just started marking out about the Michael movie and I totally forgot. So whatever the fuck I was saying, you get too big for your goddamn britches. I was saying something about that, right? And yeah, they just maybe something about Michael Jackson's dad or something. I don't know. I lost my train of thought, but she's it could have been her saying, this is it. I remember now, guys. I remember what the analogy was. Okay, are you guys ready?
Idiot.
So Michael in that movie, one thing with Michael Jackson is he always gets other people to like take the hit for him. Do you know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the movie, I don't want to spoil it. I won't spoil it. I won't say the ending, but the ending's fucking weird of that movie too. But he always gets other people like, I need you guys to tell my dad that I don't want to do the victory tour or whatever. Tee a chamona, right? And so he gets other people. So Tessa could have done that with CMLL. She could have just like told the sheets or told TNA, and then TNA sources told fucking Fightful or whatever. Yeah, Tessa said or whatever, like CMLL asked her to choose. But really, she might have just been like, look, I'm going to fucking get out of this TNA deal, and maybe AEW will scoop me up and I'll fucking work with MLW. They're making money. They're making moves. They're trying to get a TV deal. They're doing fusion. They're cracking down on YouTube channels. They're fucking they're on New Japan World. Maybe she just put it on. CMLL wants me to choose. So can I please get my release? And with also the rumors that they're doing cost cutting measures, maybe Tessa just blamed it on that and heard about that and saw it happening in real time and went, I'm just going to ask for mine. And then they'll go, okay, we're saving money here. And then she can go do other shit. And she could have just blamed it on CMLL like Michael Jackson. Got a light-skinned friend, look like Michael Jackson. Got the dark-skinned friend, look like Michael Jackson. I said, ready for the world. She was ready for some action. So shout out Tessa. Okay. I want to see what she does. Tessa Blanchard asked for her release from TNA Impact and secured it per Fightful Select. Politically, Blanchard could not continue to wrestle for CMLL and TNA, and she chose to remain with CMLL per PWI. So they come in and back it up. And I just think it's a huge fumble. It's a massive fumble for TNA. So speaking of fumbles here, the next person to leave is, where the fuck is it? Sami Callihan, who dropped, here it is. So Sami Callihan, who dropped the TNA title to Tessa Blanchard. Say that 10 times fast. TNA title to Tessa Blanchard. TNA title to Tessa Blanchard. And so Sami Callihan goes, I thought I was getting called today to be. Sami Callihan sounds just like Joey Janela in my head. We thought I was getting called today to be offered a position in creative. Nope. I've parted ways with TNA. Oh, well, onward to the next adventure. Check out my company, PW Revolver. So again, he's got PW Revolver, and that's his thing. He's over there now. And that's good for him. Now, they brought him back into TNA, and I don't know what he was really doing, but he got a call thinking that he was going to be involved more in creative than obviously wrestling. Last time we saw Sami Callihan physically out there on TNA, he was looking pretty big. He was looking pretty out of shape. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a knock on him. I mean, he's been, he's done the damn thing, and, he's long in the tooth in the business. But with that being said, in his mind, he wasn't even getting released or wouldn't be a part of these budget cuts. Because I don't know, Anthem makes the statement we're about to read, and it's not even really budget cuts, or maybe that is the vernacular they use. Either way, they put out some fucking statement, and you had to think some people knew this was coming. Obviously, Sami Callihan did not. Now, whether or not he'd be a good mind and creative, I don't fucking know. A lot of people say he would. I don't know if he would. He obviously got himself over after he bashed Eddie Edwards' fucking face in with a bat or whatever. He was able to parlay that into a bunch of money. And again, he's a name. He's a name that people respect and people like in the biz, and they think he had something to offer to TNA. And unfortunately, he's also gone. So that's kind of fucked. But they're obviously paying Sami Callihan more than like a Mr. Elegance or whatever the fuck. So it makes sense names like that are going, but it feels very WWE-ish, and it feels very like, we got our 30 million, we're going to trim the fat, or we're just going to start cutting people we aren't fucking using all the time. Now, again, somebody like Tasha Steelz revealed this, that she actually just re-signed with TNA Wrestling. Now, again, you lose a Tessa Blanchard, who's probably making double whatever the fuck Tasha Steelz is making in TNA, right? So shout out Denise Hollywood Salcedo, and here is a little clip of her interview with Tasha Steelz where she announces she re-signed. So again, do you want to keep a Tasha Steelz or a Tessa? Me, if I'm on TV every week, Tasha Steelz is great, Order 4 is great, Mustafa Ali's really helped get her over. She's cheaper. Maybe it's a cheaper play in the long, like for now, but if I'm on TV and shit, we just get to AMC, pardon me, I'm going to want fucking Tessa Blanchard personally. I don't know, though. She re-signed. Some people are re-signing.
The company at all? Are you sticking around?
Well, Denise, it seems like you want some exclusive here. And since you're my girl, I have to give you the exclusive. Is that Mother herself? Yes, Mother will be sticking around with TNA. Yes, I have re-signed. My work is not done. We have a lot more to do.
So good for her. And we move along here. And so another person who got released, and we're talking about creative here, and we have some updates on creative, was Tommy Dreamer. Okay. So he announced on Busted Open Radio that he and TNA Wrestling have mutually agreed to part ways. Now, you have a section of the IWC or the TNA fans who aren't fans of Tommy Dreamer, and they don't like for a long time, because he's been involved in TNA creative and behind the scenes for a long time now. And they don't like, if you go before the Anthem or pardon me, it's still the Anthem era, but like before the AMC era, I guess, Tommy Dreamer would like insert himself in matches as well. People didn't like that. They were already calling him out like, okay, he's in creative. He fucking, all of a sudden he's got a match on this pay-per-view or this PLE or whatever. Like he's out of shape, whatever. Even though Dreamer gave a lot to get some of these guys over. But a lot of the fan base, the TNA fans, were like, we need to get rid of Tommy Dreamer. The show will be better. And how much of that is like AEW sickos too, who might be like just hating on and shitting on whatever TNA has going on because they're angry at them right now. And you see this a lot online, though. People like saying that Tommy Dreamer needs to get the fuck out of TNA. And so it happened. I mean, it happened for you guys. Now, we'll see if the product, quote unquote, I hate when people talk about wrestling like this. We'll see if the product improves. with him being gone. But at the same time, I mean, why change everything about the company that worked to get it on AMC? Do you know what I'm saying? Like Tommy Dreamer was back there. Scott D'Amore. A lot of these guys are the reason why this shit even got a deal on AMC. Now, if people in Anthem or anywhere else want to believe it's all just predicated on the fact that they fucking worked with WWE and NXT, I just don't entirely buy into that. They were getting hype before that. You know, I think NXT started working with TNA because TNA was getting so much hype. And it's not all because of that. So I don't know why you'd want to lose a Tessa Blanchard and a Tommy Dreamer. And I don't know what Sami Callihan was doing backstage, but was he working with them before the AMC deal? Like, why would you want to get rid of all these people? I don't really get it. Maybe they're paying them quite a bit, and maybe Tommy Dreamer's making more than they see that he's worth. But who do you get to replace him? Now, conspiracy theories are running wild that he will be replaced with Road Dogg. Oh, you didn't know? Bow, wow, wow. Yo ass better call somebody. Right? People think that they're going to call up Road Dogg. So Fightful Select says, with Tommy Dreamer departing TNA, it was immediately heard from industry sources that Road Dogg had been discussed within TNA as a potential replacement for him. So this is what Fightful's saying. And then fucking Brian Alvarez talks about this. Also, there's rumors floating around, and this is according to PWI. The belief among those spoken with is that currently, I just hate this stuff, like, it was immediately heard from industry sources that Road Dogg, so industry, so like pro wrestling industry, I'm assuming you guys are talking about. So what's the difference between TNA and industry sources? Industry means someone who's not signed to a major company. Like, it's just so cringe. Dirt sheets are the cringiest thing. So PWI then goes, the belief among those spoken with. Where? At your church? At the grocery store? You know, what do you mean? The belief among those spoken with. On Twitter? Who are you speaking with? Who are those spoken with? God damn it. At least Fightful here was a little more specific. They're very vague as well, but very specific at the same time. Some more specific than this, rather. So Delirious will head up TNA Creative. There's always a chance there are more names brought onto the team at the departure of Tommy Dreamer, but it was said Delirious is the point person moving forward. So, I mean, Delirious has tons of experience, and again, people think he's a great mind, and he costs less than Tommy Dreamer. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they'll go with Delirious. And if they get Delirious and Road Dogg teamed up, maybe they could do some good shit. Now, again, we've seen Road Dogg, whether it was real or fake on Unreal, we've seen him getting emotional at creative and being like, oh, that's my friend, so I don't. And we don't see what comes after that. Does he come back to Earth? Does he snap back to reality and go, whoop, there goes gravity? Or does he fucking go, you know what? I know that that's my friend, but we got to do what's best for creative and shit. We don't know because Unreal is just what they want us to see. So, with Delirious, he could, I don't know if he would be more effective by himself or teamed with a Road Dogg, or if Road Dogg is even going to take that gig, or if AEW's trying. It seems like there's a lot of rumors and innuendo floating around about where Road Dogg is going to end up as far as like what's being said about him in the media, you know, or what he said to the media. He did like a signing/shoot interview situation, and he was talking a lot about AEW and talking about their behind the scenes and how they're getting stronger. And some people are speculating, oh, he could work there. now there's rumors swirling around he could be in TNA. Who's floating these rumors out there? Could just be Road Dogg working the boys and shit, right? But if you lose a Tommy Dreamer, you gain a Delirious and Road Dogg. I've never been backstage, so I can't be like, this is good or this is worse, but it does concern me when you're shaking it up too much, man. Like, TNA's done this time and time again. Like, remember when Billy Corgan just came in for a little bit, and then it turns out he was like funding the show, putting up $2 million, and then being tricked into thinking that he owned a chunk of it allegedly and all of this stuff. Like,
Allegedly.
When TNA starts doing shit like this, I start to get worried, you know? So we move along, and this is what Brian Alvarez had to say about the situation.
Tommy Dreamer is gone from TNA Wrestling. Dreamer revealed on Busted Open today he and Carlos Silva had recently come to an agreement to mutually part ways.
Brian's getting ready to go on vacation.
Fightful Select reporting Road Dogg has been discussed as Dreamer's possible replacement, and as was noted on our front page, Road Dogg had been he'd been talked to for weeks by TNA, and the idea, I mean, everyone in TNA thought, oh, we're going to bring in Road Dogg to work with Tommy Dreamer.
So maybe he took his job. Now, how do you do that? Well, you say, I worked on goddamn SmackDown, or there's politicking behind the scenes with the TNA WWE side where they're like, look, you're not going to AEW. You're too good of a mind for that shit. A lot of people were saying, like, okay, think about SmackDown when Road Dogg was booking it. At least it was better. But some people are also saying that that's horseshit. Because that was like the Malachi Black, Damian Priest stuff and all, and all of that. But who knows if he even came up with that. Either way, though, he could have asked for less money. Some people are PWI saying something completely different, and Delirious is going to be the point man until when? Until Road Dogg shows up, or Delirious is the point man, but fucking Road Dogg's right there working alongside him. Who knows the setup they're going for? But for some reason, they're just not seeing it with Tommy Dreamer, and maybe that's because the ratings, who fucking knows what it is, but they actually put out a statement. We'll check it out in a moment. But Brian Alvarez seems shocked right before he heads out on vacation.
And now Tommy's gone. He had a reputation when he was in WWE. Some people have said it was well-deserved. Other people have said, this wasn't just fair. You know, he was kind of blamed for when SmackDown was really bad. But how much of that was his fault? I don't know.
How much of it was dealing with a roster that was built for a 2-hour show that they then had to do an extra hour for? How often were some of his ideas perhaps cut off at the legs? We don't know.
Well, actually, apparently on that, what's that Unreal, WWE Unreal?
Tom Lawler fucking rules. And I hate how, listen to Brian, right? Look how Brian pretends to not, well, what is that, WWE Unreal? Bri, you snapped at Dave for trying to do what you're doing now, playing off like you don't know what Unreal is. You were like, did you watch it, Dave? That's what Bri said. So now he's like playing stupid. God. Bri's such a weasel.
I don't know.
Well, actually,
And shut out filthy Tom Lawler, because he is so goddamn funny, okay? And he's trolling like 90% of the time. I swear to God, he's just trolling Bri on his own show.
Apparently on that, what's that Unreal, WWE Unreal? I guess they've got lots of footage over the past however long of, he come up with an idea and they just shoot him down. Come up with an idea, get shot down. Come up with an idea, get shot down.
Yeah, Bri, when did you record this? Holy fuck.
Down. Come up with
that was a year ago that happened.
Idea, get shot down.
So shout out Trying Bri there. So this is the statement that TNA dropped, or Anthem dropped about TNA. Same shit, And Scott Fishman here posted interesting wording from this TNA release. And so I asked Grok, I said, is this real? And Grok said it is. So we trust it here at PWT. Okay. We trust fucking AI. We're diving headfirst into the future. People are saying you can make like 20K a year if you add one of those like water things for AI or data mining or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's just an American thing. I was reading that. Maybe I got worked by fucking AI Twitter, but interesting news. Anyways, so Anthem Sports update. TNA Wrestling today announced a workforce reduction. What the fuck? A workforce reduction designed to streamline operations and sharpen strategic focus and profitability. And it's like, what does that even mean?
He had Cuervo with him the whole time too.
It's just jargon to be like, look, we're firing you because we're whittling down what we are, and we're going to focus on names that we think, like more veteran names that we think can draw, who come in from WWE or other companies, whatever the fuck, mostly WWE, like a Nick Nemeth. And then guys like Santana, they might jump over, and then we're going to focus on younger talent. And we're going to get once a year some NXT AAA guys will come through. We're going to team up with NXT and do house shows. They should do that. TNA NXT house shows. It's not even a bad idea. But whatever they're fucking doing, I don't like it. You know, what does this mean, man? TNA's creative leadership team will see an immediate shift. Tommy Dreamer, who has worked in TNA's creative and talent relations departments, is leaving the company as TNA and Dreamer mutually agreed to part ways. So obviously that means, hey, we want to terminate your contract. Or he goes, hey, with the change of things, I don't know. Maybe his deal's up and they're willing to offer him the same money. And he's like, well, no, I want a bump. We got a $30 million TV deal or whatever. And then they're like, nah, sorry, we can pay Delirious less. Whatever the fuck. It's shitty. But who knows though? Maybe like this way turns everything into like the next level of TNA. Maybe the way Anthem wants to go makes this like the new 400,000 people are watching it every week. I don't fucking know. I doubt it. But I also am not a time traveler, so I can't tell you this is going to work or not. Let's see. Is leaving the company as TNA and Dreamer mutually agreed to part ways. TNA Wrestling also has come to terms on the release of Tessa Blanchard. We wish Tessa, Tommy, and others the best in their future endeavors. So think about Tessa Blanchard and the heat she had and the attention to her matches that she was garnering. And then the TV deal goes down, AMC, and who knows? Maybe AMC's like, we don't want her on our TV. Now, maybe that's bullshit. Maybe people are like, oh, come on now, Phil. That's not very fair. She was on the TV. Maybe that's...
Oh, come on now, Eric.
But I just think it's crazy to have a TV deal and not lean into that and just openly have people like Mike Santana openly be willing to walk into WWE, which he's going to do, and Joe Hendry, but that's part of the deal. Now, I think the WWE TNA relationship is still a good thing for TNA. And I think WWE is one step closer to eventually just purchasing them outright. I wouldn't even be shocked. But also, I do like, some people online have pointed out how them just being their own company that works closely with WWE is way more based. And I actually do agree with that. Like MLW, whatever MLW's doing, it's fucking cool. It's its own thing in its own little world. And they aren't, they work with Nuge, they work with CMLL, but they don't bow down to AEW or WWE or anything like that. And I think that's fucking cool. TNA's bowing down a little bit though. And it's like, okay, do you just get scooped up? And if it were me, I would maybe push TNA harder in Canada as well. That's all I'm saying. I would push it way harder in Canada and make a run against MLP and start talking shit about Maple Leaf Pro and comparing the ratings on AMC to the TSN ratings or whatever the fuck, and just start talking mad shit. If I was Moose, I'd start talking shit. Moose always talks shit. I seen Moose talking a bit of shit, but Moose, you ain't the one fucking asking for your release or being strategically focused on profitability. You know what I'm saying, dude? They're keeping you around. So, and they didn't just outright fire Tessa. They didn't outright fire Tommy Dreamer. What did Tommy Dreamer have to say about it? I thought I did bookmark. I'm sure Busted Open. Let's go Tommy Dreamer, Busted Open. And yeah, so he updates everyone on his status. Here's the clip from Busted Open. Shout out Busted Open, Sirius XM, LaGreca, Tommy Dreamer, Uncle Bully, all you motherfuckers.
I said it before about being emotional.
He's gonna cry. He's emotional.
A lot going on. To kind of steal something from Larry David or Jerry Seinfeld, I'm a really good breaker-upper. All relationships come to an end. And yesterday I had a great conversation with Carlos Silva, and me and TNA are no longer in a relationship. We've mutually
They
agreed
dumped
to part
him.
ways. It's hard. I've given
Oh, dude, I
Sorry.
feel so bad for him. But it sucks to see him go because, like, again, he's part of the reason why they got the AMC TV deal. And if the ratings are going backwards and you guys are like, we need to strategically, profitably realign our creative division and direction, it's like, bro,
I've given so much of my life.
Tessa Blanchard's get all this heat, man. Whether you love her, hate her, they're chanting at her. People are going crazy. People are talking about whether she's worthy of a second chance online. And you're not willing to, like, try and make sure she doesn't go back to CMLL. Like, okay, she's back in Mexico. Peace out, I guess. I guess we all don't get to fucking don't get to see Tessa Blanchard anymore. Like, what the fuck? It's pretty cooked.
To that company, I don't have any ill will or malice. I want it to survive, and I want it to be the best it can be. I love this business. It's hard because I'm not going to be able to see the people that I helped. I had a lot of people help me follow my dreams, and I love that part about the business of what I did. It was a 24-hour job. I think I had it for close to 10 years. Off and on, I've been in and out of there. I loved going to work. I did. But everything comes to an end. I'm not crying because I'm
I don't mean to laugh.
mad or I'm emotional.
It's always funny when someone explains why they're crying, you know?
But I know I'll be okay. And I hope TNA will be okay. And I'm going to avoid my phone for a little bit.
We need the fucking music. I wish I had in the
Like I said, I'm crying
arms
because
of the
I love to go to
angel.
work, and I love the people I work with. There was a lot of really special people. I created so many moments. I have so many highlights. And I love it. When my mom died, it was the saddest day of my life. And I came on this show, and wrestling helped me. And then right from there, I literally jumped on a plane, and TNA got me through that. With the pandemic, man, we were all scared together. This show got us through that. I would drive 15 hours by myself sometimes.
Look, dude, he loved TNA just like he loved ECW. And here's the thing, man. This might be Like, what if all of a sudden they start doing boss moves and the ratings blow up and it was the right thing, and Delirious and Road Dogg just start fucking cooking and they go in the right direction, and, you know. And I'm not saying they're even really tanking and going backwards, but they lost all that momentum they had. And it's not even that the quality of the show is any worse. I just think they didn't. I don't think NXT capitalized on the whole invasion thing / showdown thing either. I don't think they capitalized on it as much as they could have. There were moments that were like, boom, boom, this is awesome, this rules, bang. But I think that there could have been so much more extrapolated out of all of that. But damn, dude, he loves TNA.
Just to go to work, because I love the people that I worked for. Like I said, there's no issues, there's no malice. It's just at this time we just need to take a break. And I want to thank everybody for watching the show, supporting me. Like I said, I'll be okay. There's nothing like it's just the way it has to be right now. And it's going to be hard, but it'll be harder talking to the people. So that's why I just wanted to say it here. And I want to thank Anthem and TNA, and for the real wrestling fans for supporting. And if you went to a TNA event and you had a good time, that's all I asked for. I never wanted to be in. I just want to be a wrestler, and I was always just thrust into these positions. And I did my best, and I did my best for you. And that's all I got to say. And again, I'm sorry for getting emotional. Just
what's with dudes like crying on fucking Busted Open? Sauce Inc.'s been a member for 22 months. God damn, that's a long ass time. All hail the Illuminati. Please, can you give JJ the link? Also, please, for each 626. Great show. Tee-hee. Tee-hee. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see here, buddy. The last segment, Tommy Dreamer, attention seeking. He looked tired as hell. Yeah, all these old dudes look tired. For them to do this days before Slammiversary is puzzling. I know. Why not wait till after? Okay. Yeah, and RIP his mom. Like, I'm not laughing at that part. That's obviously sad, right?
I have I worked with 50 to 80 great people each and every loop, and I learned my job. I told you this a long time ago, and if you take bits and pieces of what I say, it's our job to put smiles on people's faces, and I hope you got those emotions. When I was supposed to make you mad, I made you mad. When I was supposed to make you happy, I made you happy. I hope you enjoy Slammiversary. I hope you enjoy every.
Has Bully Ray cried? What's the cry count at? Has Bully Ray cried on Busted Open, or just LaGreca and Dreamer?
Episode. I know I'll be rooting from afar. It's going to be hard, but Slammiversary is going to be a hell of a show, and I'll be watching it.
Yeah, that fucking sucks too. Right before Slammiversary, like a week out from Slammiversary, or a week and a half out, and they're just fucking releasing all these big names. People were like hoping Blanchard would come back and be like the next challenger for the title and shit. You know, don't even give them that big show. They're like, oh shit, big payoffs for Slammiversary are coming up. Quick, release them. You're fine. So in the interim, TNA Wrestling announced today TNA partnerships with K&M, All-Star Sports, and Romo Performance, both of which will receive prominent visibility across TNA events through the end of 2026. So they're bringing in sponsor money, but they're letting people go. So I don't know, man. Hopefully everything goes in the right direction. Like sometimes you do need to drastically change things up in order to have continued success or find at least what you're looking for, you know, however you define that success. Creatively, I don't think anything's too wrong with TNA. I think before going into the AMC era, they were really on fire. again, they did lose like Joe Hendry and shit, though. We gotta all understand this too. They just lost Joe Hendry. So I think that was a huge blow to whatever they had going on. But they have the Hardys. They have a lot of the same faces. They have a lot of fucking legends like a Nick Nemeth and whatnot. And they have guys like Santana. They have guys like Sosa. They have guys like Slater. And yes, Slater and Santana are likely out of there this summer, though. So maybe they're looking at this as like, okay, this is a full rebuild. Let's revamp everything. We're losing two of our main fucking champions. You know, we're bringing Amazing Red back at Slammiversary and shit. Who knows, right? They're going to run with Trey Miguel, obviously, which is a great guy that they should be pushing. And it's good he gets a chance to go on a run as a solo. Mustafa Ali, they're obviously working with him. But who knows, like, who's next? Does all of a sudden Mustafa Ali stop fucking with them? I don't know. And does Nick Nemeth dip out after this? Or maybe he beats Santana for the title and then Santana just dips out. It could be that too. So maybe they're just looking at this summer as like, okay, we're shaking things up, revamping, and maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't, though. And the people who brought you to the fucking dance, a lot of the times it's good to leave with them, but no creative endeavor that's been around for decades can stick with the 100% the same team the whole fucking time. Even Simpsons switched it up and have brought in writers and had new writers and new, even South Park's brought it, it's consistent because the two people at the helm of that show, but most things by season 4, even of your favorite show, an actor takes off or doesn't want to be a part of the show and people come to creative impasses. So, hey, I don't know. Hopefully it works out for them. I'm still rooting for TNA. That, ladies and gentlemen, was T-fucking-NA news. Bang, gang, 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 gang. Yippee. So let's get into what is Moose saying? Moose is just hyping up Slammiversary, so okay, let's get into JD says someone is wearing an OTS t-shirt and they pulled the camera off of him so fucking fast. His fucking head spin. Okay, so and I'm adding some live AEW news to this folder as we go. Okay. Interesting. Okay. AEW's got some shit going on with my AEW here. And they're piling up the content quickly. We might have to dive into AEW news, guys. Speaking of AEW, somebody who's a fixture on AEW programming, Chris Dude, I was listening as I did work to old like Opie and Anthony, where they're fucking talking shit about Gene Simmons, and where they interview him as well a couple times. But you know, obviously there's all these old O&A like compilations on YouTube. And I was listening to them just trash the shit out of Gene Simmons for the last like when I went to sleep and everything. Guys, I also watched Mortal Kombat. I rewatched Mortal Kombat. Not the 90s one, but like the more recent one, like 2021, I think. And then I watched Mortal Kombat 2. Those movies fucking rule. So underrated. I couldn't believe it. Way better than I remember. And Edge and Christian are out there cutting a promo. The crowd's dead as fuck. I think there's like, is it 3,000 people there? Yeah, there's actually 3,300 people there. And the crowd's just dead as shit. Speaking of AEW, we should get into AEW news. Over 200 watching wherever you're watching, guys. Make sure you vote in the poll in the chat. 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 for Will Ospreay, 2 for Paul Walter Hauser, 3 for TNA Wrestling fans, 4 for Dave Meltzer. Who is coping the hardest today? Make sure you vote in the chat. Get your votes in. And we're going to see Hazuki versus Monet Bryan. I mean, the build to Forbidden Door and the Forbidden Door is just straight ass. So we're going to get into AEW news, ladies and germs. And guys, remember Monday we didn't do a show. I got some dental work done like 2 days ago. And so I'm going to do it on like Friday. And I apologize if I sound like a little lispy and if, you know, I'm taking a few pain pills the last couple days for the swelling or whatever. So I might be all over the place. But we're doing the damn thing. Okay, so like this is a big deal. We are adding stuff here live to the AEW news as things are breaking. Okay. And sorry, guys, I'm literally adding things on the fly that are just happening, being announced on Twitter. A live breaking news day. We are going to also make fun of Will Ospreay a little bit here. Okay, here we go. No tone lives. Okay, guys. So let's get into a segment called The Best Guys Tony Khan / there's no tone cringe.
Best guys,
week,
Tony Khan.
It is called AEW news. For Forbidden Door. So we're talking about my AEW. It's the talk of the town. It's what's being promoted everywhere. You know, recently my AEW pulled, or I guess just AEW in general, pulled AEW programming off of New Japan World because they're going to put it all on my AEW. Niccolo Piccolo came in out of nowhere like an RKO saying, look, dude, Tone's already, I quadruple sourced it, and WBD gave Tone a head up. They think it's a heads up. They think it's weird that he's pretending like he isn't ready to not be on TNT and TBS. And once this merger with Paramount goes down, and they vehemently denied that, Tone's been like, I can't wait to work with Paramount. And then we see my AEW get rolled out everywhere, and he's like, no, it's not, because we're going to transfer everything there and start our own network, even though that's what it looks like. And they roll it out everywhere. And, you know, furthermore, There's rumors that stem again from what Nicolo Piccolo said, that Tony Khan has been telling everybody he's just going to go to YouTube and he doesn't give a fuck about whatever happens. He's cool. He's just going to keep spending money and keep this thing alive. Like the fucking Bee Gees. Don't staying alive, right? And so AEW has expanded itself a little bit, and they popped up on Tubi for their old episodes. Now, I think that's actually a good play for them. And again, it's like a small, it's like an ad revenue. This is why they go to Tubi, because Tubi finds the ads, the advertisers or whatever, and then they just run ads like the way YouTube does, and then they run ads over AEW, and then they keep a percentage of it, and then you keep a chunk of it. And so it just seems as though Tone is getting ready to maximize revenue streams for things like that. So them going to Tubi doesn't mean every week Dynamite and Collision is going to be on that shit. It's just their old stuff. So they are going to do like the ad play, and then on my AEW, Tone is going to have to go out and get the advertising on his own, which I think is the scary part. Like, yes, Tone has a lot of connections, but we've even seen it. Like, he's had to go out of his way. He's got to pay to work with the NFL, and they do some shit with White Castle, or they make those lucha masks and they look cheap and shitty and they're overpriced. Is Tone really in the position to actually make good advertising deals when you don't have Warner Bros. Coming and being like, hey, you're going to promote the Minecraft. Hey, we got David Cornsweat. We got Superman here. You got any wrestlers who can come down to the lot and fucking film a thing? He's here all day filming promo. Let's do a crossover, and we want you to put Superman all over your fucking show. AEW Dynamite's just an ad for Superman. They don't have that luxury anymore. Once that goes away on my AEW, Tone's going to have to hunt for the advertisers himself. And that's why he's going to YouTube, and that's why he's going to Tubi, and it's all just the writings on the wall. Okay. So AEW now has a fast channel on Amazon Prime. Now that rules. These fast channels are sweet. I think, again, this is good. It's good for Lucha Underground, keeping that shit relevant. It's good for TNA. I saw they had a fast channel on Roku or whatever, and good for AEW, and good for Roku, and good for Amazon, and good for Tubi, and all these fucking people who offer fast channels, right? Now, they've done business with Amazon Prime. I think Amazon Prime might even throw them some cash for the pay-per-views again, or whatever deal they worked out. Like, I don't know what the deal is. Is Amazon throwing them cash to have AEW pay-per-views on there, or is it the other way around? Who knows? But I could see them working with Amazon Prime and like new episodes of Dynamite debuting on Amazon Prime moving forward in the future. But who the fuck is watching Amazon Prime, and who's watching it for AEW? So Dave now is going to have to make believe. And look, dude, news radio's on here airing and shit, like old stuff, Deal or No Deal. These fast channels kind of rule. If you're an old person, these fucking fast channels are like a godsend, you know? But Dave is going to have to make believe that he's getting the Amazon Prime numbers, the My AEW numbers, and the fucking Tubi numbers or whatever, to make believe what the ratings are and pretend that they're beating Raw, even though they're on Tubi and their own app, and they're not even on TV. And they're trying to sell pay-per-views, and their houses are 1,000 to 3,000 people if they're lucky for their weekly show. I just don't know how Dave's going to spin this. He's going to find a way to try and spin it. I don't know how all the BJ Bethels and all these people are going to... They can't even get the fucking HBO Max numbers. Tone says he doesn't even have them, which is either great incompetence or a fucking lie. Okay?
Liar!
But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and take Tone at his word. So none of them have the fucking Max numbers even. Now Dave's got plugs for Prime. Like, this is the problem with the pay-per-view numbers too. expect me to believe Dave has plugs at HBO or Warner Bros, at Amazon Prime, at fucking Triller TV. You know what I mean? There's no way he can even figure out these pay-per-view numbers already as it is and what they're doing numbers-wise. So it's going to be a weird cope, man. We're going to enter into an era of weird fucking cope when it comes to AEW and their television ratings and whatnot. But my AEW strolls along and it continues to add and pile up the content and more indies, which I'm sure this is costing my AEW money. I'm sure it's costing Tone money. And if it's not, maybe what AEW is offering these guys is you can come on our platform and then we will run ads during your shit and we'll give you a percentage of the ads, the same thing that they do with like Tubi or whatever. Maybe that's what AEW is offering them, but I don't think they even have ads on there yet. And maybe someone internationally can correct the record on that. But they continue to expand their library. And why are they adding Canadian and fucking luchador events you guys are about to see? And why are they adding North American federations and indies to their fucking library? Because they are going to roll this out in the Americas. Ooh, whoa. And Tone knows it. And Niccolo Piccolo was right. And again, you can love that guy, hate that guy. He was fucking right about this. And you can love or hate AEW, but this is what's happening. And you better get used to it. And I don't know, man. Tone had every opportunity to avoid this, and he fucking didn't. But they're adding C4 Wrestling. It's the latest promotion to join my AEW. In other news, because there's other feds joining my AEW. So breaking, Chicago's Warrior Wrestling has just been added to my AEW. My AEW is now a proper hub for promotions worldwide. One Fall Wrestling, Produce Wrestling, Limitless Wrestling, C4 Wrestling, CMLL standalone pay-per-views, and Warrior Wrestling. So another fed that's been brought into the fold. And you got Thunder Rosa versus Athena, Bandito, Jake something. So I think Tone should have been doing this the whole fucking time. And then when he's on my AEW and he's dropping dynamites on there and then fucking they get the 100 and upwards, quote unquote, $185 million deal. And then Dave tries to flex it. It's not that big of an L. People can't clown. Well, they still it would have been like, oh, well, they still got $165 million out of Warner Bros for their show. And they have this thing they're building, their own like network where dynamites go up there the next day. And if you just pay for that monthly, you have fucking everything. Tone could have been doing this the whole time and it wouldn't feel like a last minute desperation. Now, I'm not going, holy fuck, I need to sign up for Warrior Wrestling now. They got Warrior Wrestling? Oh boy, I need my AEW. Fuck no. Most people are just going to jump on the pirate ship. Ahoy, mateys. People are just going to jump on the fucking pirate ship to watch AEW. I'm telling you that's what's going to happen because there's so many people who've lost faith in AEW. You have 200,000 floaters on TV. Are they going to start paying? Are those floaters going to fucking start paying for it? They already float and don't watch it. They don't watch Collision and they already will watch other shit if there's something more interesting on, like a good Family Guy rerun or whatever. So are those 200,000 floaters that you have for Collision and Dynamite, are they going to pay for my AEW or Amazon Prime? No, fuck no, dude. They're going to disappear and just be like, whatever. But maybe you could have hooked them if you've been promoting my AEW on Warner Bros. This whole fucking time. And then that's always your built-in backup fucking plan. And you promote on YouTube by keeping Dark around. And then you upload the Dark episodes up to my AEW as well and use it to advertise my AEW. And this whole time you were working with these indies so that when MJF goes over and defends his fucking title on one PW against some fucking rando if I'm hardcore enough of a fan, or you can say these guys wrestled before in one PW. I'm just making up a random shout. I don't even know if one PW is a thing. I'm just making shit up. Oh, these guys wrestled before. You can watch this match on the My AEW fucking app or website or whatever, and then on YouTube you're uploading clips of old matches like WWE did to get people on the network. You upload like 4 minutes of a fucking, here's Goldberg versus Sting. You upload 4 minutes and all of WCW on the network, and you come to our website. Tone could have just been building this up the whole time. The whole fucking time. And he didn't. Now it's like a last minute desperation. Oh, Bandito versus Jake something. Well, I can just watch that on Collision already. So what the fuck? I just don't think he played this the right way. And I'm not trying to boo-boo on this. I'm giving Tone credit. This is good that he's doing this. I'm not shitting on that for 1 second. It's good that he's doing this. But it's just like, is it too little too late? As JoJo would say. You know, it's just too little too late. So AEW just announced that Friday's Fantastica Mania Mexico show will be available to buy on My AEW for just $10 in English commentary. My AEW is truly the new Triller TV. And I don't know about all that there, little nephew, but CMLL presents New Japan Fantastica Mania in Mexico 2026. Now, let me just say this right off rip. It's on Friday. Is this for realsies? Is Fantastica Mania 2026? Yeah, it is this Friday. Damn. So, okay. I'm going to definitely check this out. But this logo's cool as fuck. Like these dragons, the font, the lettering, the way it says CMLL presents and New Japan present, like all of this shit cooking. Okay. English commentary only, which is all good. And it gives incentive to watch it over on My AEW. This is cool. Where's the promotion for this shit? You know? And hopefully this helps New Japan out. I just don't think New Japan's going anywhere. And I don't think WWE is going to be Nuge maxing anytime soon. I don't think they're going to start working with New Japan anytime soon. I think we're going to see CMLL, New Japan. They're going to keep their relationship really strong. Obviously, they're going to continue to work with MLW, both of them, and then they're going to continue to work with AEW. And this is dope for AEW. It'd be cool if this got more promotion and hype. It would be cool if AEW, so think about this too, they had the leg up on WWE as far as getting people excited about Lucha and CMLL on their end, and they just don't ever uphold their end of the bargain, as we've seen with New Japan either. Which we're going to talk about in a minute, but this is cool. Again, you don't get My AEW in Canada. Like I can't just pay. Well, when I went on their site, you could add shit to a cart and everything, but I don't think I can actually watch anything on there. So again, how do people watch this? They'll probably hop on the fucking pirate ship. It sucks. Tone should have been building this up the whole fucking time. And then when they host things like this, people would be more excited for it. And with Forbidden Door coming up, look at the beautiful art and the effort being put into Fantastica Mania. Meanwhile, you're doing Forbidden Door, and it's really just Forbidden fucking all the guys Tone signed away from Nuge, and then a couple Stardom people wrestling on this fucking card. And there's no hype around it. And the build's been fucking terrible. But yeah, My AEW, man, they're making moves. And it's interesting. So speaking of New Japan. Again, I said this so many times, right? Tone and Dave Meltzer, they hate Evil.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time too.
They hate Takahashi. They just don't like him, really. And they don't like Yota Tsuji. And they haven't this whole goddamn time. Now, Yota Tsuji, again, is a real dude. And you know he's a real dude because everyone's spurging out. All the Will Ospreay's having a spurg out and Dave Meltzer's crying. Everybody's fucking crying about what Yota Tsuji's got to say. Meanwhile, Gabe Kidd is like, fuck, he's like, fuck Tony Khan and AEW stuff. And it's all cool. Why? Because Tone's in on the work. So if Tone is in on the work, you're allowed to be like, fuck AEW if you're a Nuge. But if you're like seriously going, no, fuck AEW, they're whack, Tone gets mad about that. The AEW wrestlers have a cry. And so Yota Tsuji's that fucking dude. And he's got a great look. He's got to work with WWE, man. He's got to work with WWE. He could. He absolutely could. He's got a look. He would work well. Hopefully he gets the fuck out of Nuge. Because why is AEW allowed to have little sissy meltdowns about him? Okay? And he's not allowed to just say what the fuck he thinks without everyone hating him. And why isn't Tone trying to poach this guy? And why don't you hear anything bad about Okada or Ibushi or Tanahashi-san? Dave Meltzer won't even blame any of the state of New Japan on Tony Khan gutting their fucking roster. Now, again, Tanahashi retired. They're like, oh, Tanahashi's this fucking big star and he's the last real big star and they're not drawing anymore after he retired. Buddy, he's been washed for like years. For like 2 years now, he's been fucking barely able to walk. Why is he the last big star? Because everybody he made in his era, who did Tanahashi wrestle in his last handful, let's say his last fucking 10 years in the biz? Who were the people he was wrestling and helping get over and making in New Japan? All for them to sign to AEW. Okada, Kenny, fucking Jay White, Ospreay. All these motherfuckers are in AEW now. None of them are there. You have Yota Tsuji, who's cool. You have some fucking names. We went over the G1 Climax. There's some fucking names there. You know, there's some guys there, I guess. But Tanahashi-san's okay with Tone just fucking slapping them around, dude. I don't know what this is. Okay? It's shitty, and it's not going to help New Japan. And the whole point of a partnership with an American company is hopefully the American company helps you draw more in America. Okay? And you guys can tell. So Gabe Kidd is allowed to talk shit about AEW, and it's all good. He gets a job out of it because it's fake. Yota Tsuji says some shit, and you got everybody, you got people trashing him, and Will Ospreay fucking melting down about this guy and blaming WWE. The cope is just unbridled, okay? So Yota Tsuji, he had this to say. He suggested a boycott of AEW Forbidden Door, saying he won't defend his IWGP Heavyweight Championship on the pay-per-view. Good. WWE, work out a deal where you guys send Shinsuke over to wrestle Tsuji and put him over and then fucking poach him from New Japan. If Nuge is willing to let this shit happen and just let Ospreay fucking bury and shit on them, just because Tone or whatever, fuck Nuge. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to piss a lot of people off. Fuck them. I hope WWE poach Yota Tsuji from there. Anyways, he says, I think we must firmly protect what New Japan Pro Wrestling must not lose. Look back at the past. There were 4-way matches, open challenges, and retired wrestlers challenging, pardon me. Do you think I would participate in an IWGP match when it's being treated like this in FD? At Forbidden Door. As the man who revived the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, I have to protect its value. And you're goddamn right he does. Okay? WWE Trips, I know you're listening. Send Randy Orton over there. Have him put Tsuji over, then poach Tsuji. Just buy his contract out. You guys are making billions. You have Evil and Takahashi coming in. You have Tsuji come in. Let's fucking do it. Let's start Noah Maxing, dude. Ready, team? Break. No, but for real. We're about to hear Will Ospreay just cry. This is all this man said. We should boycott Forbidden Door. I refuse to defend my title on this shit. Because it's carny goofball shit. So we move along here. And this is what Will Ospreay starts saying. Will Ospreay says, bruv, or maybe have some pride in representing your company as the top lad. You mean like you, Will? When I held any IWGP championship, I wanted to travel the world calling out the best to show them all New Japan is the better. Okay, then why did you leave for more money? Obviously, his home market is Japan, and he has done a great job in the top spot. To me, this screams insecure. Do you know what screams insecure, Will? When a guy criticizes AEW, and then you all start fucking crying about it. You know?
Emotional damage.
And Will Ospreay continues. He continues. And he goes, the roster clearly isn't as driven as the guys I was once surrounded by. Just big belly boys wanting to keep playing free play. Grow a sack, fill it with some nuts, call out the BITW, and show the world how good New Japan is. Just my thoughts. Ospreay, here's the problem. Nobody knows what the fuck the BITW is. Okay? When it was your bruv Gabe Kidd saying the same shit, you had nothing to say. Okay? And now some people are like, he's working. No, he's not. Because he starts crying. Okay? And we're about to get into his crybaby session here. So this guy said this here. Scroll up. We get into a little argument that he's having with someone here. Will Ospreay's like, never send any of their talent. The highest attended Wrestle Kingdom. Because somebody's like, oh, AEW sends none of their talent over there. And Ospreay says the highest attended Wrestle Kingdom had an AEW contracted wrestler. One. The semi of that same show had another AEW talent. 2. And it was the biggest of all time. Guess what? The AEW versus New Japan show, when it was mostly AEW guys, half and half, drew less than that, Ospreay. Don't start pulling numbers, bro. So you don't know what you're talking about, clearly. Okay? It had 1 AEW talent. And the fuck does that mean? 1 AEW talent didn't fucking draw whatever. What was the fucking... Oh, it was Kenny Omega. You mean the guy who was made in Japan? Like... It's just cooked. It's always just a cooked backward ass way of thinking. And so Ospreay says, do you think they would have sold that many tickets without the generosity of Tony Khan? So what does that mean? So Okada was a huge star in Japan, goes to America, makes his return to Japan, and that's because Tony Khan's generous. And they drew because Tony Khan's generosity. They drew because this guy's contracted to AEW? Or did they draw because this guy is a huge star, Okada, in New Japan?
Shut up, bitch!
Like, this is the problem. These guys get too personally and emotionally wrapped up in this shit. And they're so happy that Tone changed their fucking lives forever that they say completely stupid shit when you really stop and think about it. Okay? We continue along. Kenny went back. Andrade, myself. Andrade went back. They're not drawing. You went back. They're not drawing. Kenny went back. He's always been in Japan. Okay? And he had a match with Gabe Kidd, who now is in AEW. They drew big, and then Tone hired everyone, and that's why the perception is they can't draw, and they can't draw. And I'm just coping about it. Could they send more? Absolutely. But in that same sense, why can't they make their own stars anymore? Because Tony Khan poached them all. Stupid.
Thank you, fuck you, bye. Boom.
That's dumb. Because guess what? Why is Tanahashi their last big star? Because all the people Tanahashi made, Okada, Kenny, Jay White, Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., AEW hired them all, and Zack Sabre Jr. is just not a big star. AEW hired them all. And then the ones Tone didn't want, Takahashi, Evil, Yota Tsuji, fuck them. Leave them to rot. Let them go to WWE. And watch. Evil's going to be a huge fucking star. WWE's going to push the fuck out of that guy. And it's going to blow up in your guys' faces again. But for Will Ospreay to say, why can't they make another star, bruv? Ospreay, you're only considered a star among sickos and diehard Nuge fans. Or like diehard AEW fans because of your time in Nuge. And you should be thanking those fans. Like, do you think you're a star in America? You are just a New Japan star. Tone hired you. That's why there's no stars there anymore. And to flip and put it on them like that is hilarious. Now, definitely, I'm not saying New Japan part of me should play the role of like, woe is me and cry about it. They have nobody to blame but themselves, and fuck them if they don't want to get their shit together. I'm in the fuck Nuge camp now. Honestly. But for Will to be so fucking lacking so much self-awareness and coping this hard, and then he starts making it about WWE. And it's the goofiest shit of all time. So he says, I did it, and I did it in the worst possible situation New Japan has ever found themselves in. I don't know if that's true, bro. Oh, why were they in the worst possible position they were ever in, Will? Because Kenny and everyone left for AEW? Oh, so kind of like everybody left and your whole generation left for AEW. Now, did Kenny make all of these, all you and the guys left behind? I can't remember, Will. Did fucking Kenny wrestle you and Ibushi and all these guys wrestle you and shit? Oh, yeah, they did. You're still talking about the Ibushi Rana, you fucking mark. They did. They talked about you.
You
okay?
are a naive, brainless, pathetic, idiotic, clueless, dumbass mark.
And Dave talked about you. Because Kenny and them wrestled you, and Kenny and them put you over. Did you do the same, other than for Callum Newman, who is smaller than most people's nephews? Did you do the same for Yota Tsuji? Where's all the praise and 5-star matches and fucking, you know? Instead, you guys, Tone poaches everyone, makes it pretty well publicly known the people he doesn't fuck with, and then sends over Takeshita, his own guy, to get pushed. And you're blaming them for why they don't have, like, yeah, blame Tanahashi maybe. So he goes, you can't blame the company that gave New Japan a platform to remind people how talented their roster is. You can't blame AEW that gave New Japan a platform to remind people, buddy, New Japan would still be great if it wasn't for AEW. Especially during the COVID years when no one wanted to watch New Japan unless me or the UE boys were involved. Listen to that shit. You work there, and this asshole, Will Ospreay, gets to just come and go, show up whenever he wants in New Japan. Show up at whatever PLE he wants. Show up at whatever fucking TV taping he wants. He can do whatever the fuck he wants when it comes to Nuge, and shit on it, and shit on everyone there, and who was there, and say no one wanted to watch anything. Wow, Will. Sounds insecure to me. If they want to be treated equally, level the fuck up and actually call out the guys you want to be on the same level. So, Will, is this why you fucking cry about WWE so much? Because you believe calling them out is gonna places you on the same level as them? When really it doesn't? If you wanted to be placed on the same level as them, you could have went there and fucking proved it. Or was it just about the fucking bank account, bud? Which is it, Will? So Will's just being a salty little bitch. And this guy goes, buddy, the biggest house was due to Tana's retirement, had nothing to do with AEW. Let's not kid ourselves. Will Ospreay goes, so if it was Tanahashi versus Tsuji, do you think it would sell out or any of those lads? So now he's going to shit on Tanahashi. Yeah, according to Dave Meltzer, it didn't matter. Dave Meltzer, and I know that Ospreay is not fucking is not Dave Meltzer's little butt dog or whatever, like Brian Alvarez, but we know that Meltzer fucking stands Will Ospreay. And Dave Meltzer was like, it doesn't matter who they put in there. If it was Nakamura, Okada, it does not matter who it is.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
That goes in the ring with Tanahashi. He's such a draw. It was his last match. It was like Cena. So did it matter who went in there against Cena? Not really. He was going to sell that shit out. Did it matter who went in there with Tanahashi? According to everybody who fucking glazes you even, and it doesn't mean they're right, doesn't mean you're wrong, whatever, but according to them, yeah. Or nah, actually. It didn't matter who the fuck he wrestled, but yeah, Tanahashi's like Cena, so he's the draw. So would it have sold out? Yeah, I think it would have sold out. Or is the match versus Okada the sell? Okay, now Will Ospreay. Why is a match versus Okada a sell? Because Okada went to AEW? Like, you're almost there. Hey, buddy. Hey, bruv. You're almost there. You're like literally just almost there with the logic. Okay?
Let's talk about it.
But you just refuse to take that extra step because you can't. Because you're being paid millions of fucking dollars by Tony Khan. Do not. Which is fine. But you just look and sound like a dumbass. Okay? So why did Okada draw against Tanahashi? Because he signed to AEW or because he was a fucking huge star and a huge draw himself in New Japan? You just said it. When Okada left and Omega left and shit, you had to find a way to get over there and still draw, and even as far back as COVID and whatnot. Okay? And so Will Ospreay says, not trying to put them down, but imagine TK doesn't allow Okada to reignite that historic feud. Well, it didn't reignite anything. Again, you are retarded, and it didn't reignite anything. It fucking put a cap on and ended that chapter, okay? But yes, if they sent anybody there, it would have sold out. And he goes, especially with Fed. Especially with Fed. Get off the message boards, Will. You're brain rotted. Not allowing Nakamura to even show his face. I'm not trying to kid anyone, just stating facts. But they're not facts. So you agree that if it wasn't Okada, like again, he just disagrees with his, so especially with Fed not allowing Nakamura, why especially that? So you agree that especially if it was Nakamura, it would have sold out too, right? Would it have sold out if it wasn't Okada? Yeah, you just are saying Nakamura, you're naming him. If it was Nakamura, it would have went even crazier. But you just won't say that part. You're just beating around the bush. And he goes, 56,000 tickets sold, bruv. Tanahashi, New Japan versus Okada, AEW. No, Okada, New Japan, superstar. New Japan, super famous guy from fucking New Japan. Not from, it's not because he was made in AEW. If he was made in AEW, if it was like MJF sold out against Tanahashi, okay, maybe you'd have a point, but not Okada. Okada's a fucking massive draw. Lucy Moody for 2 sweet says JJ is here, bro. I see that. Guys, make sure you vote in the poll. Who is coping the hardest today? I'm making a good case for Will Ospreay. 1 for Will Ospreay, 2 for Paul Walter Hauser, 3 for TNA Wrestling fans, 4 for Dave Meltzer. So we move along here. I'm going off on Ospreay. So this guy says, what's his name? Genocide ever. Says, didn't we wrap up all that talk about New Japan being led through the pandemic by 23? Also, Wrestle Dynasty on Jan 5th, 25. Again, I've been going off about this for a fucking year. Had Omega, the Bucks, Mercedes Moné, but it still drew 8,000 fewer people than January 4th. LOL. That's a talking point I have beat to death on PWT live show. You can go back the past fucking since it happened. Okay. And some people say, oh, come on now, Phil, that's not very fair. The second night of Wrestle Kingdom always draws less than the first when they made it 2 nights. Okay, fine, but isn't that why they made it like half AEW? It was presented as Nuge versus AEW. The AEW guys claiming they boosted this year's Wrestle Kingdom attendance is nothing but a lie. And it's true, because when New Japan comes to America, why the fuck hasn't AEW helped them sell tickets in America? None of them will fucking answer this question. Will Ospreay responds and says, I'm not claiming they boosted numbers, bruv. Then what the fuck are you talking about, stupid? You just said, would it have sold out if it wasn't Okada? Attendance is numbers, bro. I'm stating the highest number featured in AEW talent. No, Will. That's like saying Antonio Inoki drew in Japan and he's a WWF talent because they gave him the martial arts title or whatever. No, it's Antonio Inoki. He's a giant fucking star. That's nutty, bro. Okada was a giant star in New Japan. It was him coming back to New Japan. He didn't draw because Okada's this AEW guy. Now, if like MJF or Swerve went over and did that, okay, you'd have an argument to make. Was New Japan's most prominent feud outside Nakamura? Exactly. So you just said it. Ding, 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 Will. Ding, ding, ding. You nailed it. It was New Japan's most prominent feud. So it had nothing to do with Okada being in AEW. It's like this weird lack of logic. It's like a failure of fucking logic. And Tana for his last match against either one of those lads rather than an active New Japan wrestler. AEW said yes. Fed said no. So you're admitting. So again, right here, he's just admitting. Would Tsuji and Tanahashi have sold out? Well, according to you here, AEW said yes and Fed said no. So if it was the other way around, then it would have sold out. Because he's saying said yes to the sellout. This is how fucking stupid this guy is. He's trying to say this. My point is that an AEW guy was in the highest selling, whatever. Then when someone calls him on it, because we all share the commonality of language and we believe what he is saying is that AEW helped boost the numbers. He goes, no, I'm not saying they boost the numbers. Just it was an AEW guy who's currently signed to AEW there. Okay, but before you tried to say if it was anyone else, it wouldn't sell out, but you are just readily admitting that fucking Nakamura would have sold it out, and I believe Tsuji would have as well, and seemingly by saying, what if they both said no? What happens then? Would it have sold out? You're just slapping Tanahashi in the face, and he deserves this. He just deserves it. And I quote tweeted this and said, AEW gutted Nuge and hasn't helped them in America at all, which is the whole point of a partnership. And, yeah, we read this one. So Will Ospreay continues here. And look at him just right. Look how much he is melting down about this. And so this guy goes, have to love Forbidden. He's at We Work Stiff, says, we have to love Forbidden Door season. Twitter comes alive with the same AEW versus New Japan talking points recycled for the nth year in a row, angering all sides, achieving very little. And then we get the payoff to this with some random multi-mans booked on the Dynamite before the show. I mean, yeah, dude, that's exactly it. You fucking nailed it. Shout out Josh from We Work Stiff. And he says, though I must say the focus Ospreay has placed on New Japan's perceived inability to create stars is interesting. I would argue that Nuge hasn't lost its ability, but instead hasn't been able to adapt to changing timelines. It's nuanced, but it's the actual point of contention, IMO. I think also Tone signed every fucking guy. And Gabe Kidd started heating up. He gets signed away. And Will Ospreay, he gets signed away. And they try to make Zack Sabre Jr., and he doesn't get over like the other guys, but he just kind of works with AEW. And the dogs are over. They fucking get signed by AEW. And Okada signed away by AEW. And everybody fucking signed away from AEW by AEW. So, it is what it is, man. And then, this guy continues. He writes his thing, which is a good assessment here. And then Ospreay responds to this guy with like a novel. He goes, disagree, bruv. Omega, who is top 4 during the greatest time period in New Japan times, comes back from nearly dying as an AEW contracted talent. Here's the problem with what these guys are doing. This is some Dave Meltzer shit right now. This is Dave Meltzer shit. You're Dave-brained, bro. And this is how these motherfuckers think. Oh, he's contracted to AEW right now, so that means it's because of AEW he's over somewhere else or in Japan or whatever. It's ass backwards. It's like a fucking guy who wins championships for... It's like if the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan wins championships with the Chicago Bulls. Then he goes to the Washington Wizards, I think he played for, right? Let's say that Chicago then won the chip and you're like, oh, well, then contracted Chicago Bull Michael Jordan or something like that. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. He's on the Wizards now. Okay, but he won the chips in Chicago. Like, motherfucker, Okada was a star in New Japan. Yes, he's in AEW currently, but it doesn't mean it's because it doesn't mean when Jordan went to Washington Wizards, the Washington Wizards are why he won chips in Chicago. It's a whole other thing. It's not because of AEW that Kenny goes there and they do he was contracted at that time to AEW. Okay, the fuck does that mean? He's returning to Japan. His first match back against Gabe Kidd. So far, Will, you're just naming AEW guys. So Omega's an AEW guy. Gabe Kidd's an AEW guy. They legitimately have the craziest match that year. Did they capitalize of the performance of Gabe? No. No, they didn't, you dumbass, because he was getting hired by Steamboat Tone Khan. You dumbass. So how would they capitalize on it when he's about to leave the company? You look at Goto, who has been a soldier, has only reached that popularity after God knows how many years. Yeah, dude, and he's in movies and shit. Goto's cooler than you, Will Ospreay. So after God knows how many years grinding, so like Okada? You mean like he was Kato in TNA and he had to fucking grind to become Okada? The Rainmaker that everybody knew and loved in New Japan? And get a fucking $1 million contract with AEW or millions of dollars? You mean like everybody? So why diminish him? Why diminish him to be like, look how shitty Nuge is doing with all these guys? What a piece of shit, dude. If I was New Japan, if I was Cyber Agent or TV Asahi or whatever the fuck, I would be like, fire this guy. No, he's not allowed back here. I'm just joking. But he goes, Callum has completely grown into the role and now he is hurt. So again, because Callum's his boy, he's saying Callum Newman grew into the role of what? A draw in fucking Japan? No, he's not. Okay? And he's like as big as a young buck, dude. So again, he's hurt right now, so they're struggling. Nope, they're struggling with Callum Newman still. It's Struggle fucking City. In fact, him being world champion's why it's Struggle City right now. You get some diamonds in the rough like Yuya and Oya. Not Yota Tsuji? Oh, okay. It's so cooked. And he goes, Shota's just finding his feet after so many flops. Holy fuck, man. Will, you're just burying Nuge here. Drilla puts in so much work. Imagine you have Forbidden Door coming up, and the gimmick is you're trying to sell us on New Japan crossover shit, and you're working with New Japan. You guys have a working relationship with Nuge, and Will, you fuck off to Nuge whenever it convenes you. It's convenient for you. And now you're just sitting here pointing out how they're the shits. They don't capitalize on shit. They can't make stars. They're terrible. How the fuck is this good for you or AEW or them? What good are you doing for anybody? What good are you doing for anybody involved in any of this? You dumbass. Holy fuck. I'm not saying AEW relationship is perfect. There's more we could do as a partner, bruv. But come off the idea of we don't send our top guys. We legitimately have given you the top 1%. Will, you've been in AEW for like 2 years, man. You're still more of a Nuge guy than you are an AEW guy. You even said that you're going to go and have unfinished business in Nuge. You haven't even been out of Nuge for 5 years yet. What are you? We send our top guys, bruv. What do you mean, like you? You've barely even left. You barely even left.
Let's talk about it.
And he goes, we legitimately have given you the top 1% of the wrestling in the world. Kenny Okada, Takeshita Andrade, and myself. I'm sorry. You can say you're the top 1% of wrestling. Most people disagree with that. If you're talking about the top 1% of wrestling, people like fucking Randall Keith Orton and Roman Reigns and CM Punk need to be in that discussion as well. Maybe top 1% in AEW. And I'm speaking for myself mainly, but for sure the others feel the same. I'm mainly speaking for myself, but for sure everyone else feels the same about how I'm just burying New Japan, even though we're partnered with you guys and we're trying to use you guys to help market our shit. And we were on their fucking platform on New Japan World, which gave us legitimacy when we were fucking falling off. And we gutted their entire fucking roster, and they don't know how to book stars, and we're trying to build a relationship with them or do crossover events with them, but fuck them. They're trash and garbage. How does this get anyone over, Will? You're dumb. You're dumb. And he goes, I love coming to New Japan because it was my home for 8 years. I legit owe my life to the Lion Mark. My point remains, though, throughout this battle with opinion of those that have no idea what it is to be a New Japan wrestler. Tsuji should represent the company as champion in any event that has New Japan presence. So just be a bootlicker? So WWE bootlicking is the end of the fucking world. And it's the worst thing you could ever fucking do.
Wrestling's for dirtbags and lily pickers.
But bootlicking for fucking AEW is all good. And even if you want to stand up for your right to party, down, gang, gang, gang. And if you want to stand up for what you believe in, nope, bow down, kiss the ring, lick the boot. Because it's
the best
AEW.
guys, Tony Khan.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And fans will defend this. Fans will defend this shit. There's a level of pride you should have, especially holding that championship. Then, Will, why don't you shut the fuck up and go back to New Japan and hold that championship then? So when you abandon New Japan and do what's best for you and your family for the money, meanwhile, Yota Tsuji's doing what's best for him and his family and the people he cares about in New Japan, and you were willing to abandon New Japan just for money, no other reason. You're not moreover. You know, it would be hard pressed if you told me you were seen by more people, maybe. You're not drawing. They're going all in. Hey, guess what? The opening day tickets sold were like, what was it, 24,000 or 21,000 or something? 21. And then it's at like 24 or 25,000 tickets sold so far. So you're not a draw. You don't help at all. You're not doing anything different. They are not moving any tickets for All in Wembley. So what are you doing? Just because you do what you think is best for you and yours, that's okay. Tsuji does the same thing, and you're going to have a hissy fit crybaby cry about it? Okay. Just typical AEW lolcow cope and seethe. And then I responded to that. I wrote, AEW fuck New Japan. You, Omega, Kid, Okada, you all work for Tony Khan now. Unbridled levels of constant cope out of this bunch. It's just typical LOL AEW wrestler cope.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard, coping and seething.
And so that was the feltoning of Will Ospreay there, guys. That was really good shit. Very cotton-mouthed. The last few days and have been feeling funky like a monkey. I did get dental work done a couple days ago. And so, sorry if I sound a little lispy too, guys, okay? People are going to be like, why is Dusty Rhodes doing the PWT? Being a WWE star is natural. You have to force yourself into liking AEW. Thanks. This was in 23. I made it. The shame, the dominance. So sorry to. Okay. So, I want to see what people are saying about Will Ospreay. Will would have to leave AEW to return to New Japan. Phil, only way because New Japan and AEW are splitting and ending. I don't know about that. I don't think they'll ever split and end. I don't think they will. Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon, especially not with the three-way with CMLL involved as well. Sorry, I was chug some water. Okay, disgusting, yummy. I'm sure that just sounds tasty.
Wrestling's not fake.
We got some more AEW news to get into, my friends. So Brian Cage wins Mr. Nevada bodybuilding title after dominating heavyweight division. And he's ripped, man. He's jacked up. He's juiced up. Brian Cage doing the damn thing. Jake Hager wrote a message about Tony Khan for a fan, and he signs fuck Tony Khan again at a fan meet and greet. And yeah, Jake Hager's a power slapper now. If I was him, I'd try and get into RAF, talk some shit, work my way into an RAF match. I don't think he's ever going to do MMA again, even though he was like 5-0-1, I think was his record, or 4-0-1 or something like that. And yeah, Jake Hager's that dude, but he really doesn't like Tony Khan, and that's like been his new gimmick. Fuck Tony Khan. Congratulations to AEW stars Will Ospreay and Alex Windsor on their marriage. They got married, and Will Ospreay said he's supposed to be on his honeymoon, bruv. You know, but instead he's back and having a struggle session on Twitter instead of, you know, he just gets married instead of spending time with his lovely wife. He's having a fucking struggle session on Twitter. It's crazy. But as first reported by Daily Mail, AEW is partnering with The Last Match, a pro wrestling rock experience. This marks the first time a major pro wrestling company steps into the world of original musical theater, creating one of the most unique live experiences ever in the UK. Oh, so sports entertainment! Imagine that.
For, the young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So
imagine sports and entertainment. What a weird concept. So Jack Perry is nearing the end of his AEW contract and is currently negotiating a new deal, according to Brian. And all of the dirt sheets followed up with their own versions of this story, as the fucking dirt sheets do. You guys know how they get down. They all just rewrite the same story, put their own little spin on it, and say, add what their sources, quote unquote, tell them, even if they don't really have sources or whatever. But it's funny how the dirt sheets go above and beyond, and Brian Alvarez and all these people are just chatting up Jack Perry to work Tone out of more money. We want more money.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
Like the fucking Canadians in South Park. Jack Perry ain't going anywhere. He's not going to NXT to get slapped out by Punk again. He's not taking less money to go and be in NXT. He's not doing that. So where's he going to go? TNA? That would be epic. Hey, maybe they fired Tommy Dreamer and these guys and Tessa Blanchard so they could bring in Jack Perry. That would be an epic strike back at AEW, but they're not doing that. He's not going to leave his girlfriend and his friends behind. So imagine you have all these dirt sheets that you've co-opted. They're all running plays just to work you being Tone, out of more money.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
Oh, his contract's up. He's expected to sign somewhere. They're going to sign somewhere. Where? WWE? So now Jack Perry can go into a meeting with Tone and go, yeah, I mean, NXT's interested. And then Tone goes, I'll bump you up another $150,000. These motherfuckers hate Tone. They have him money. Well, they don't hate him. They love him, but they have him money marked in so bad. And nobody wants to admit it. And now these sheets are running plays to work AEW out of even more money when they're about to be off TV and need this money because they're doing 1,200 seats in fucking Cincy and 3,300 here. And they're trying to do these fucking pay-per-views and they're doing them unsuccessfully. If you want to look at fucking All In compared to the other years, and they're like, oh, it outdrew the Texas show. Yeah, because AEW could pull up to the UK and do that many people anytime. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the problem. They can't do that in the States. They only do that in the UK because they're never in the fucking UK. They should just film TVs there and shit. They should film TVs in Australia. They're not drawn anywhere, really. And yes, it's a big Wembley show. Okay, they're going to fluff the house. I bet they won't even hit 30K until after Tone fluffs it. And Brandon Thurston will stooge all that. Okay? So it's crazy because this motherfucker is just working Tone out of extra money. And the dirt sheets are just working Tone out of extra money that Jack Perry, I'm sorry, is not worth. He doesn't draw anywhere. His gimmick was cute. He's not a draw. Okay? I don't think there's any proven draws in AEW other than MJF and Samoa Joe. If you want to argue in the early days like Kenny and shit were, okay. But Mox isn't. He had the title for a year. They can't even do more than 1,200 people for a fucking Dynamite in his hometown. That's regression. Hangman certainly isn't. Darby isn't. So what the fuck are we talking about here? You know? And so, again, I hope Tone is happy that he just gets used as a fucking money mark. I don't know what else more to say. And Dave Meltzer can sit there and cope and go, he's not a money mark, and try and change the definition of what a money mark is to cope about this. But at the end of the day, you guys are just helping Tone get worked out of more money that he needs right now more than ever. I guess he doesn't really care, though. His dad has infinite bucks. But yeah, shout out Jack Perry. And if Jack Perry proves me wrong and shows up in NXT, I will actually glaze him. I will actually put him over tremendously. If he's able to be a man, shake hands with fucking Punk, go over there, really test himself, get the machine behind him, see what they could do with him. he is a great wrestler. Like, he physically can do moves and shit. I mean, he's not the best like selling and shit, but that's the stuff that NXT would refine. His character work, his promos, all that stuff. And if he went there and proved everyone wrong and crossed that bridge and he got over and shit, I'll gladly eat that. I'll gladly eat that shit. I'll fucking glaze him on this show. Okay? But he ain't going to do that. And this is all a ploy to get this guy to work Tone Con out of an extra 50 grand for this guy a year that he doesn't draw already. So it is what it is, man. And that, ladies and germs, was AEW news. Ichi ni Sanda. And of course, the best guy is Tony Khan.
Great.
Tone loves being worked, though. He loves when the boys work him. He loves getting worked over. So what is going on in Evolve? So Anya Rune. I'll just put this in the bookmarks and we'll just talk about it, I guess. The Ooh Woo girl. She did this spot where she like falls off the top rope, but clearly it's a fucking work. Did you guys watch who watched UFC Freedom 250? Did any of you guys watch that shit? It was just a spectacular presentation. And the fights were awesome, other than Cyril Gahn fucking cheating and shit. But check out, I'm going to do a recap show of that and preview this weekend's card and talk about Conor McGregor's steroid scandal and stuff with Chris Conner on Combat Sport Time this week, okay? So if you guys are into MMA and boxing and shit, make sure you check that out and check out patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times. We have quite a bit of WWE news, guys. Make sure you vote in the poll. Yeah, we have some fucking news. We got to felt Paul Walter Hauser still before we get out of here. Who is coping the hardest today? 1, Will Ospreay. 2, Paul Walter Hauser, which we're about to get into. 3, TNA Wrestling fans. 4, Dave Meltzer, because he's always coping. I did absolutely phenomenal. Phil Freedom 250 was incredible. What a layout and event. The main event was one of the best I've seen in a while. I watched it. It was phenomenal. Dude, the background looked like something straight out of Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I'm not a big fan of when UFC does like the gold gloves or the red gloves and the blue gloves. Just felt very like Strike Force-ish to me, but whatever. They're just doing the way they walked out, and they walked out with like 2 American heroes who were like, I think they all received like the, again, I'm not a military guy, like the highest honor, like the Medal of Honor or whatever the fuck. And the way that people were like saluting them, and throughout the night, all the fighters walked like from deeper and deeper in the White House. Tyson Fury got to walk out for some reason because Dana White's involved in the Zuffa boxing event, Fury versus Joshua. And just the production was spectacular. The live band was amazing. The lights were spectacular. The fights were spectacular. The wind, like the breeze blowing, it made it feel like a fucking kumite. Like they're outside and they're fight. That's what people thought Fight Island was going to be like, you know? And I don't know. I think they could have featured more like MMA fighters who helped like build the UFC into what it was. You know, they were showing like celebrities and shit in the crowd, and like some WWE guys and stuff. And this is why I bring this up, because we're going to show some highlights in WWE news, a little bit of this event. Just some people who popped up in and around the event. But I just thought it looked fucking phenomenal. And Yeah, I mean, whatever you think about, like, whatever administration or whatever side, left or right, none of that matters, right? Like, it was truly a celebration of America and just focusing on, I don't know, there was so, like, all the video packages and all the I don't know if they used AI, they probably did, but all of just the ads, like, putting over America, I was like, God damn it. I was like, I want to be a fucking American now. You know, like, it just made you want to run through a brick wall, and the fights delivered, and Cyril Gahn is a fucking cheating Frenchman. And je peux parler en français, right? I'm French Canadian, but this guy's a European Frenchman, much different. No, but fuck Cyril Gahn. He's a cheating fuck. He cheats every fucking fight. And the main event was just spectacular. And Topuria got fucking G-checked. And it was an amazing event, I thought, especially aesthetically, you know? So, and Cyril Gahn, again, I just can't say this enough. He pokes everyone in the eyes. He kicks everyone in the balls. He hits in the back of the head. He did it before he was in the UFC. He's done it inside the UFC. Literally every single fight that is filmed of this man, you can go through, and people have done compilation videos of it, and he fucking cheats. And the problem is the officiating. The problem is there's no consequences. Nobody takes a fucking point as soon as this guy starts poking in the eyes and shit. Nobody takes a point, so he just gets away with it. I don't even think he's intentionally doing it. He just hasn't corrected it because he's never been nipped in the ass for it, for the behavior. And so he hit Gahn with like, or pardon me, he hit fucking Pereira with like 15 back of the head shots. I think someone counted. And I fully, when I'm watching MMA, I understand what the back of the head is and what is safe, like what is around the ears and shit. Like, I understand I don't need a ref to break this shit down. I've watched MMA my entire life when it had no fucking rules. I watch fucking organizations where there's head stomps and everything allowed, and organizations like Strikeforce where there was no grounded elbows allowed. I know the difference between the unified rules and the fucking, they had the ABC rules, I think, in California or whatever. I know the difference, okay? You don't have to explain to me what back of the head is. They were blatant back of the fucking head blows, many of them. Now, did Pereira walk into a fucking nasty jab and get rocked up? Yes, he did. Has he been rocked up before? A couple times. Has he been in wars? And yes, dude. And is it heavyweight and it's a whole different animal? Absolutely. I don't want to take that away. But those back of the head shots, like, would he have even gotten beat if he wasn't getting wailed on in the back of the head? Fighters have died and have been put in wheelchairs and shit because of that. So it was cooked. But UFC Freedom 250, man, a fucking 10 out of 10 for me. Just the presentation, everything was spectacular. So let's get into now, because we're going to talk about that stuff a little bit. Let's get into, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Let me sip some coffee. It is time for Chris Jericho.
I look and see it's not just me. So many others have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spent our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Let me get wild. Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WWE News. So the New York Knicks, man, they won the NBA championship, and TKO is putting together a deal with Danhausen and the New York Knicks. And I may have it bookmarked, but they rolled out like a whole merch line. Yes, right here. Shout out at AEW Neckbeard. He says, this is on the NBA official merch site, not WWE shop. I don't think people realize what a big deal this is. And this is what I'm saying. Like, Danhausen's all over that shit. And also Danhausen, I think he cursed the Vegas Knights as well, didn't he? So, yeah, Danhausen cursed the Vegas Knights. Yeah, so it says that fans paid him to curse them, but the Canes ended up winning the cup. So he fucking cursed. He uncursed the Knicks. I don't know if he cursed the Spurs, but he did curse Vegas, and then the Canes and the Knicks won the championships. It's fucking nutty, and it doesn't even make sense. And so Danhausen needs a float. He needs a fucking parade dedicated to just him. He better be somebody who's featured. They need a big blow-up balloon of fucking Danhausen, like at the fucking Macy Gray Thanksgiving parade. Okay? Speaking of sports games, Liv Morgan was shown in the audience for Netherlands versus Japan. And this dude was like, man, you know, I sold a bunch of crypto. I have 4 Bitcoin, facts. I don't know why he's got to catch strays. It's just funny. Speaking of other like news and television as it pertains to television and whatnot, AJ Lee confirmed a participation for WWE Unreal on Netflix. So the next season will have AJ Lee in it. So that should be fun. And she'll be back in WWE, but her plan was always just short little run. Like she's got other business to attend to. And speaking of which, Drew McIntyre has been circling several Hollywood projects since returning from filming Highlander. Today, he was announced for the new film, The Last Druid. For that reason, do not expect McIntyre back in WWE anytime soon. While online reports suggested he is set for a return leading into SummerSlam, those rumors were completely inaccurate, as there's been nothing on the table for him creatively. And again, Drew McIntyre. Drew is in fucking Highlander with Cavill. He's in The Last Druid, I think, with like Russell Crowe or some shit. And he's blowing up. And I told you, motherfuckers, this guy is, I don't know how, I'm not saying he's going to be like the next The Rock, but he's looked at as a fucking legit guy in Hollywood, man. And it's so good for him, and he's going to keep landing bigger roles. And if he keeps delivering, who knows? Maybe he just leaves WWE entirely and goes to fucking Hollywood. It wouldn't be a bad thing for Drew. Could we use him in WWE television right now? Yes. Is this stuff we used to complain about Vince? This is why everybody's like, oh, the WWE creative's so bad, and like, where the fuck is Drew and shit? Well, he's off in Hollywood, bitch. And this is what people would complain about Vince not allowing wrestlers. Oh, Vince won't let wrestlers go do shit because they could, you know, they could do both, whatever. Look at The Rock, but it takes a lot of your time and it takes top priority. And Drew McIntyre, it would be funny too if he just shows up at SummerSlam and kiboshes all this noise, but man, he's going to keep landing gigs. I fucking guarantee it. And that's so good for him. I'm not sure if we had another like formal announcement on that or anything, but in other news, Becky Lynch is going to be on Story Wars, double points. And she's going to be on with Harland Williams, who's the funniest fucking guy ever, fellow Canadian. Mark Norman's funny too. He's good at riffing and shit. And Story Wars, if you guys aren't familiar, it's a podcast. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Legion of Skanks, but Big J Okerson and Louis J. Gomez host Story Wars. And it's kind of like a game show where you're trying to like trick people into believing these stories based on the whatever topic. So this one's temptation. So you submit stories about temptation. They randomly pick them. And then you have to try and trick everybody. Like it's a party game you could play at your house, you know, with your friends and shit. But you're trying to like trick other people into thinking it's not your story, and then you get points or whatever. And so Becky Lynch is going to be on this show, which fucking rules. That's amazing, and they're getting bigger and bigger guests. And Harlan Williams is so funny. Just to talk about him for a second, like he goes on to Joe Rogan, and he gets Joe Rogan like, you know, you're going to get a shitty Joe Rogan episode when he starts talking about like wolves and bears and fucking, you know, he starts going off about COVID, man, and all the fuck, you know, like he's got certain shit. Joe just starts talking about certain shit, and it gets so fucking, and it's so cringe, and you know you have a bad episode of JRE. So what Harlan Williams does when he's a guest, he goes on there with like prosthetics on and shit. He kept a snake, like this giant rubber snake, like in his pants and he trolled Joe the whole show about him having a tapeworm. And Joe's so gullible. Okay. Joe Rogan's so fucking gullible that he like half believes Harlan Williams. And Harlan Williams is telling Joe, yeah, I have this tapeworm. So throughout the show, he's like eating celery on microphone. It's one of the funniest bits and one of the funniest troll jobs of all time is on the Joe Rogan Experience. Harlan Williams. You guys might remember him. He's the cop who pulls over Dumb and Dumber in the movie Dumb and Dumber. And then he drinks the piss beer. He's in How High and shit like that. So, or not How High, Half Baked. So he's a fucking legend in the game, and it's awesome that him and Becky Lynch will be on a show together. Like, I just can't wait to see her react to his antics. You always wonder that, like a celebrity or somebody, like it's not common. And now in 2026, you see a lot of wrestlers breaking kayfabe and appearing on like streamers' things, or they do their own streams, or they appear on shows. It's not often, you know, as a wrestling fan, you see that too much, and you get to see how wrestlers interact with other celebrities beyond like a kayfabe capacity. So it's funny in the age of podcasts, like we've seen, you know, you get to see Matt Damon and Ben Affleck sit down and have a conversation with someone on a fucking podcast for 3 hours. Like, where else would you get to see Matt Damon and Ben Affleck just like talk like regular dudes on a fucking podcast? And it's like, where else would you see a person like Becky Lynch, or go back in time? Would you ever picture like Trish Stratus on a podcast telling personal stories about herself, about temptation, and fucking playing like a party game where everyone's fucking doing shots and smoking vapes and shit? Like, that's what they do on this show. They're just like smoking weed and fucking drinking, and it's like a party game. It's just interesting. I'm very excited to see Becky Lynch on the show, and with those two other guests, I mean, hopefully she can hang. You know, she's in there with two beasts of comedians, as Brendan Schaub would say, right? Two assassins. People forget, man, there's like 250 assassins, man. That's what Joe Rogan says. There's like 250 comedians, man, who can really do comedy. It's where the woke meets the wall, man. That's what Joe Rogan said about comedy. Isn't that fucking cute? Fucking Toe Rogan. No, shout out Joe. I like him. He's a good UFC commentator and shit, but I don't know. His podcast is just good for the lulz these days, you know? Still the biggest show, I guess. Or maybe not. Some people troll him. They're like the fourth biggest show because it's like not the biggest podcast anymore. I don't know. Whatever. I'm done with the Joe Rogan hate. So let's talk about some things that went down on Raw and whatnot. Well, first, we'll continue with this. So WWE is facing significant visa issues right now, which would explain why Joe Hendry's not on TV and shit like that. It could even explain why Drew hasn't been as much, right? We continue along, and Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the undisputed WWE Championship on SmackDown will be commercial free, which fucking rules. And we're getting a title switch. An alliance is being formed between Natty and Nikita Lyons and Carmen Petrovich, which are two ladies that I think work really well with Natty and her taking them under her wing. I really like this. I have high hopes for this little faction here, okay? And Natty and NXT is always a good thing. We move along, and WWE has filed to trademark human monies. So again, it was funny on Raw. Liv Morgan went to try and tempt. Went to try and tempt Danhausen by being a little spicy and flirting with him and wearing his shirt and all of these things. And Danhausen was just only interested in human monies. And Dom tried to bribe Danhausen as well. And their objective is put a curse on Obafemi so that Dirty Dom can win his match and win the King of the Ring, right? So again, human monies is going to be a t-shirt and shit like that. I'm positive of it. And Anya Rune, this just happened on Evolve. She fell jumping off the top rope at WWE Evolve. This is clearly work.
Up top. Peter, what you talking about?
She wants to fly it. Oh, she went the wrong.
Clearly a work.
Off and now. Oh, cross body though.
Yeah, and then she goes into her finish. But speaking of Danhausen, I don't know. I just bookmarked it last minute there. And then she yells, in the name of Uwu, this anime girl is going to fly. But here's Danhausen chopping it up with Stephen A. Smith. And they're trolling old Donald Trump there.
Brothers now. Because we cursed. They lost 2 games. We uncursed 13-0.
That's right.
They lost one. We won't talk about that.
That's
that wasn't
right.
my fault. That was your fault.
Trump. That was Trump. That's Trump. That wasn't me. That was Donald Trump. That was Donald Trump.
I didn't say it.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to be the almighty, the all-powerful Danhausen.
Wow.
Are you scared of the president? You scared to say what I said?
No.
How trash are the fucking Knicks fans, though? They go on a 13-game run. They lose one. They start beating everyone up. And then they win the championship and they just start trashing the city and shit. What a bunch of fucking shitty sore winners and losers New York is. Also, shout out the fucking San Antonio Spurs guy who, did you guys see that video where that dude fought like 15 New York Knicks fans, or like more like 1,500. Like they were all scattering from this dude. He got arrested and shit and escorted out of the building. And he's like, none of these motherfuckers want it with me. He was beating up like 100 fucking Knicks fans. That shit was hilarious.
You sure?
Danhausen's powers can only go so far.
I mean, it should go further than the White House. You should be all right.
Well,
you should be scared.
Yes.
If I'm not scared of the president, why are you going to be scared of the
Oh,
president?
Danhausen's not afraid, but I'm just saying sometimes those powers get blocked. Every once in a while, one will come across and block it.
Okay.
That night it got blocked.
Oh, that's funny.
Brothers now.
Because we cursed.
That is funny shit. Shout out Danhausen and Stephen A. Smith. So on to more controversial news, I suppose. Sean Chan, the man accused of stalking Liv Morgan, was found not guilty by reason of insanity on a charge of interstate domestic violence. And this is just kooky shit. The judicial system keeps doing this. In Canada, they do the same goddamn thing where they go, yeah, they're too crazy. They're unfit for trial, so they can't go to jail. So let's send them to a rehabilitation center. Now, in Minecraft, in Canada, infamously, there was an Asian dude, oddly enough, but he fucking chopped a dude's head off in Minecraft on a Greyhound bus and started eating the guy. In Canada, and he's mentally too crazy for fucking, so they put him in like a rehab, and now he just walks among everyone and is a regular dude out there in society. Like, this dude showed up to Liv Morgan, like he stalked her, internationally traveled. Lock this guy up. You know what I mean? Like, send him to fucking jail, you know? Like, nobody wants to. I don't give a fuck. Oh, he's mentally unfit, so let's just send him to a rehab until we deem he's okay to not do something like this again. That's fucking kooky, bro. So I don't know what's going on with all that, but hopefully he stays the fuck away from Liv. You know what I'm saying? So John Cena is apparently getting backlash on Instagram for posting a picture of Elon Musk after Elon Musk became a trillionaire. People are pussies, you know? Like, everybody loved Elon Musk when he popped up in fucking Iron Man 2 or 3 or whatever, you know, but now they fucking hate him. And that's fair. He's definitely one of the cringiest people there's ever been. Again, speaking of Joe Rogan, you guys ever see when Elon Musk went on Joe Rogan and they were eating sardine and pineapple pizza on the air and just chewing? Nom, 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 nom. It's the most disgusting, vile thing I've ever seen in my life. And he's so uncool, they didn't even want him at the fucking Epstein parties. Even the Epstein file guys were like, nerd alert. But like, for real.
Just made the list.
And he became a trillionaire, though. And once that happened, also all of these people who work for him became like millionaires. He made like 4,000 millionaires or something like that because they had stock. They were working for his company and they had like stock in his shit. So when, you know, when he went up to trillionaire, whatever the fuck happened, a bunch of people became millionaires off of, I don't know. I don't pay attention to all the business dealings and whatnot, but people get mad at Cena and it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just a guy. He's just a cringy fucking weirdo guy. And so in other somewhat controversial news, I suppose it's controversial. Ludwig Kaiser files a motion to obtain surveillance footage, an ongoing battery case. So he wants the footage to prove to everybody he wasn't in the wrong. Kaiser is facing battery charges stemming from an alleged April incident at an Orlando apartment complex. His defense team is seeking access to surveillance footage that reportedly captured the elevator altercation. Police previously identified Kaiser as the alleged aggressor through the same footage. A pre-trial conference is currently scheduled for July. So there you go. Hopefully he gets that. I missed a couple things here. Well, actually, this is controversial. God damn it. This is the real controversy. Blake Monroe got destroyed, or pardon me, destroyed Tiffany Stratton with a cake. Tiffany Stratton invited Blake Monroe onto her stream as her second guest. And Blake Monroe, they're working a shoot here. How dare she shove Tiffy's face in a cake?
What do you mean? No.
Yeah, now you're going to fight. I have it. The co-main event, Gunther Cody Rhodes WWE Championship in the main event. The co-main event, commercial-free. A bra and panties match. Yeah. Yeah. Tiffy Stratton versus Blake Monroe in a cake-eating contest. Or you're both. So, yeah, there you go. You know, some weirdos getting off to that shit. And in other news, I mean, and I just don't know how dare Eric Andre touch the new Ula Fala. So Roman Reigns gave this new Ula Fala, the new La Fala, as it's come to be known here at PWT, to Jacob Fatu, right? And Eric Andre, so you can see it there. There's the new La Fala. And I don't know what this means. This is like the enforcer, Ulafala. I'm not sure what it is, but he sort of honored Jacob Fatu. And he's babyface in here with this, right? And Jacob Fatu understands that his mission is just to acknowledge Roman Reigns and listen to Roman Reigns, the OTC, as it should be, right? And Eric Andre really offended me and really crossed the line here when this son of a bitch touched the new La Fala. Let's take a look.
And that's right here on Netflix. And what about Baltimore? Jey Uso a little bit now. Eric Andre. Whoa! No, you don't touch the Ula.
And Jacob Fatu whooped his ass. Now, I need to put Eric Andre over for his selling. Okay,
Eric Andre. Whoa! No, you don't touch the Ula Fala, dummy. What in the world? Throwing Eric out here. Lawsuit on our hands. Eric Andre is just sitting there in the front row celebrating with everybody. The next thing you know,
his selling was great. He got big splashed multiple times. Eric Andre, of course, in a movie with Roman Reigns, but how dare he touch the new La Fala? Okay? He's lucky Haku didn't come out and rip his jaw off, pal. Yeah. So speaking of dropping jaws, it is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Put your twos in the chat for Happy Wednesday and Rizzo rants or red sauce rants. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday here at PWT.
Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So, what I'm thinking today. I'm recording.
I have an episode.
I always have an episode. Don't look
You're
at
having
her.
an episode right now.
Page, 2 peas in a pod.
2 peas. Okay.
You
now,
do your thing?
And I'll do mine.
That
You
is
do
what I
yours.
said. That's what I said.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. That's fine. It's okay.
So
now we have
a special guest.
It's incredible. Hello.
There's Katie.
Oh, come on. No, it's my shot. It's my shot. He's my guest. I asked him first. You're stuck.
What an amazing crossover edition of Wednesday with Red Sauce Rizzo rants, infinitely superior to Thursday. Just saying.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Just saying. So, guys, we are going to get into. We talked a little bit before about UFC Freedom 250, and again, I thought the production side of it was just spectacular. They focused a lot on celebrities and boxers and WWE superstars and stuff. They did not focus too much on UFC fighters. This show, PWT, focuses on pro wrestling. And Nick Khan and Shane McMahon were spotted at UFC Freedom 250 at the White House, with Khan visible in the background of footage posted by Shane's son, Declan McMahon. His sons were there. And so hopefully Shane McMahon returns to the Fed. No, I don't know if anybody needs that, but I think it's his sons' birthrights to be involved in the biz in some way, shape, or form. Do you remember when Shane McMahon's son was giving an interview and he was asked about AEW and he's like, I don't watch that crap. Just the way he said it pops me. So yeah, they were there. They were in attendance. Shane McMahon's sons, you see them there. They were with Nick Khan, right? And so was Roman Reigns and Triple H. Of course, Josh Hokett came out to Hulk Hogan's Real American, which was awesome. And then he got a win. And then he's like, Michelle Obama's a man. Am I right, America? And that was fucking crazy to say, you know? But it is kind of funny how he takes, because he's obviously joking. And it's like a troll. Like he knew he'd just say that. Then everybody would be like, what Josh Hokett said about Josh Hokett. And then he just goes, look, I'm playing a character. Like everyone knows he's blatantly playing a character. And he's been caught on camera jumping in and out of character. But it's almost like being like, Michelle Obama's a man, right, America? It's almost like throwing that, because it's so outlandish and stupid. And he's playing like this dumb character of like, oh, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to chama on your mama, brah. Like this stupid ass character he's playing. It's almost like it's like making fun of how ridiculous that is, you know, but it was definitely a crazy ass thing to say, you know. UFC and shit were scrambling to be, you know, Sean Strickland got escorted off the fucking premises for crashing the WWE ring that they had set up at Freedom 250. He got escorted out because he was critical of like Trump and shit like that. So pretty wild, man, pretty wild. But speaking of someone who's critical, Walter Hauser had a fucking meltdown on Roman Reigns and called him a dork. And again, in 2026, it's like that movie 21 Jump Street where they go back to high school and Channing Tatum's character is like, oh, dude, why is everybody... Dude, all the nerds are the cool guys now. Like, what the fuck's going on? You know, high school's nothing like I remember it to be. Paul Walter Hauser is feeling himself, and he's calling Roman a dork. Roman, who's like one of the swaggiest, coolest fucking, everybody's like, this is the coolest guy. That's why he fucking resonates, because it's not cool in like to Walter Hauser, Roman's like a guy who'd shove him in a locker and shit back in the day. So I get it, but Roman is cool, and he transcends, dude. He's cool in like a way he carries himself way to where everybody fucks with him, you know? And that's why he's so popular and he got so fucking over. People fuck with him, you know? And it doesn't matter what race, creed, color, background, like people just, that's your tribal chief. You throw the fucking ones up, you know? Yes, he's incredibly handsome. There's, you know, he's a great athlete. There's, he can cut a good promo. Again, back in the day, not so much. Now that he has the freedom to more kind of say what he's feeling and be more himself. Okay, but again, we have Walter Hauser. He calls Roman a fucking dork. And then he starts going on a fucking meltdown about WWE and Roman Reigns. So, Roman Reigns puts the ones up. Okay, we'll just start with this. Roman Reigns puts the ones up. And then Paul Walter Hauser quote tweets it and goes, "Is this where you are when you're never wrestling? Why do guys like Darby Allin and Kenny Omega wrestle every single week, and yet they don't ask us to acknowledge them? Could it be that the work begets the acknowledgement? Enjoy the field trip, you actual dork." And again, man, I just had to destroy Will Ospreay. Now I got to destroy your dumbass. Enjoy the field trip, you actual dork. Because he's at the White House. Now, Paul Walter Hauser, again, is doing this thing that like Dave Meltzer does and shit, where Roman Reigns puts the one up, and it's his pro wrestling gimmick, and it's triggering you. Shouldn't Kenny Omega get acknowledgement? Maybe if he was smart enough to make that his gimmick, but instead he goes, "Good night, kiss, kiss, bang, bang," which is a tremendous Robert Downey Jr. Val Kilmer film starring Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. I think that is right. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang. Am I right about that? Or am I thinking the long kiss goodnight? No, yeah, it's kiss, kiss, bang, bang. There you go. Anyways. So Kenny does like the gun. He kisses the gun and does like the bang or whatever. Finger bang, 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 bang. So maybe if he made his gimmick, like acknowledge me and put the ones up instead of do a pointy finger gun and go bang with it. Right? Why doesn't that trigger you? Paul Walter, why doesn't that trigger you? And then someone looked it up, and I guess Kenny Omega's had 9 matches or something like that this year. Just completely felted him. I think Darby had like 11 or 17 or something like that. I can't remember. It was in the 10s of matches, 19 or some shit like that. And he's like triggered by kayfabe. Could it be that the work begets the acknowledgement? Paul, he grinded on every house show. I went to house shows and butt fuck nowhere, and Roman was going through tables fighting Braun Strowman, doing fucking steel stair spots. I'm not joking. This shit is documented. They filmed it all, right? And Roman Reigns was out there doing fucking false count anywhere matches on the roads back when the house show schedule was the strongest. He was out there fucking wrestling in an era where Vince McMahon was dumping dog food on his fucking head, and he persevered through all that shit. And that is the work. That is the grind, bruv. Not you, who wins fucking awards and then you get to pick and choose where you show up and work. Not Kenny, who pick and chooses. That's the worst example. You mean Darby Allin, who comes and goes whenever the fuck he wants, and they just reward him with a world title and more money? Or do you mean Kenny Omega, who comes and goes when he wants and can't even be at pay-per-views because he's at Capcom events cosplaying as fucking wrestlers? And you're talking about Roman Reigns, who's in the actual Street Fighter movie, but Kenny Omega can dip out and go to fucking Japan to cosplay in a shitty Halloween version of Street Fighter. That doesn't trigger you, though. And he's had like 3 more matches than Roman or something like that. Someone pulled up the numbers. And it's like, Paul, you wrestle whenever you want to because you're a Hollywood star. So what are you talking about? The work begets the fucking shut up. Kenny doesn't wrestle every single week. And they don't ask us to acknowledge them. Yeah, because they ask you to kiss, kiss, bang, bang their gun or whatever. It's a gimmick. It's fake. Right? So we move along. And this guy's fucking cooked. And JJ Alexander says, another day, another utterly moronic fucking post from this bearded slug who thinks because he's done some garbage matches in MLW that he's one of the boys. Bitch, shut the fuck up. And he calls him a dork, right? And so this guy here, Pro Wrestling Powerhouse, says we need to gatekeep professional wrestling from depraved wackos like Paul Walter Hauser. Suddenly a UFC event clouds his judgment so much to call Roman Reigns a dork, right? And Paul Walter Hauser says, we have different definitions of dork. So now the cope begins and he's backtracking and, well, we mean dork differently. Paul Walter Hauser, do we mean objectivity differently as well when you start talking about objectively Mick Foley's a top 10 of all time? If you don't think that a top 10 WWE talent or a pro wrestler of all time, if you don't think that, you don't know much about the business. That's what Paul Walter Hauser said, which we covered on the show. And I'm proud to announce here at PWT today that Paul Walter Hauser is our brand new fool.
Wrestling for dirtbags and lily pickers.
You're the newest fool, Paul Walter Hauser. And so we're definitely doing a full-fledged investigation. We're looking into you. And we hope you go to prison. Everything's a joke here at PWT, okay? But we've been chronicling you now, dude. And if you guys haven't, check out my video essay on Paul Walter Hauser and Tony Khan and how they're bad for wrestling that I did, if you haven't seen it on YouTube already, okay? You just look that up, youtube.com/@ProWrestleClips. I did a little mini video essay on this already, okay? But I do agree, well, to an extent. I think, I don't know, man. Like if Tom Cruise is like, I'm going to start pro wrestling, fuck it. It's just that Paul Walter Hauser, he's a sicko at heart, and he's one of these Hollywood fucks who just do a lot of projecting what they think like they know better, and he probably calls the rest of the country flyover states if it's not New York or LA, which I mean, I know that they're called that, but it's just they're called that because people in LA and New York fucking call them that. You know what I mean? The rest of the country, the pores, you know? And it's just what these fucking people do. It's what Dave Meltzer does when he says shit like poor people don't like AEW and shit, right? Like this is just,
poor people don't like AEW.
This is just how these fucking some of these people in that part of the country fucking talk, man. But Paul Walter Hauser's like, we have different definitions of dork. I like Roman, but if y'all can't take the occasional criticism for showing up to a trash goofball event, definitely stay away from Hollywood. Paul, you're the one coping. Like the trash goofball events all take place in Hollywood. That's number one. Okay. You mean like or in New York? You mean like the fucking Met Gala and shit? The goofiest of goofball things you could ever do? That's what you do. We're over here now. That's where I am. Right? And why is it a trash goofball event? Because they held a UFC fight and honored America on the White House. Now, I thought it was hokey and gimmicky and stupid too at first going into it. And I'm the biggest UFC fan. It was actually dope as fuck. And the picture of Diego Lopez like standing on the cage and like the White House is fucking behind it. Like, god damn, man, just the visuals were unreal, and they did a great job of like, they had a whole, like, it was mostly veterans there, and they did a great job. Like, as the fighters walked out to the cage, they talked about the people, like, this guy's a Purple Heart. Like, they gave them their fight stats, like the way a fighter walks to the cage, and then it's like black belt in 10th Planet Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, former Golden Gloves boxing champ, 8-0 in his last 8-0 in his last 8 fights with 10 finishes in his last 10 wins or whatever the fuck, right? Like the fight stats, they had it for like the American heroes that accompanied them to the fucking, people who fought for America's freedom and shit. You got to support that. You got to support the troops. You got to support the fucking, all of those people who have like fucking Medal of Honors. Like there was a dude, one dude in a wheelchair who was 101 years old, dude, who got shot down in a fucking plane in Nam or whatever they said. I'm not joking. Maybe it was World War II. I forget. Right? But like and they like honored those people and did really good like video. This sounds so cringe to say, I know. And I'm a Canadian and I'm like, USA, USA, go John, USA. Right? But it was just, I don't know. It was very tasteful. Other than the Josh Hokett, it was a very tasteful and well done. And the cringe thing I was going to say was they did really good vignettes on America. They did great video. The video package were chef's kiss for the United States of A, right? So Paul Walter Hauser starts coping about the definition of dork here, okay? And he goes, I like Roman, but if you can't take the occasional criticism, bro, that's what sickos do. They can't take any fucking criticism. People can take the criticism, but it's who it's coming from. It's coming from a guy who not only does the dorkiest wrestling shit, but looks like a fucking guy who, let's face it, bro, you were Stingray. You got cast in Stingray for a fucking reason in Cobra Kai. You give off like... was bullied for being the fat kid, for being a dork in fucking High School Vibes. And I'm not sitting here being one of these, yeah, fuck those, right? Like I wasn't a bully, and it's like, I'm not sitting here like, yeah, bully the dorks and shit. I'm not saying that either, but you fit that definition, Revenge of the Nerds, okay? You fit that description, at least, So maybe people do have different definitions of dork. Say that 10 times fast. But it's not about the occasion. It's who it's coming from, right? Like you're calling him a dork. It seems like projection. You're calling this a goofy cornball event, but you walk red carpets and shit, which is cringy to like average people. People think that stuff's kind of cringe. Okay. A lot of that, maybe not red carpets actually, but because that's cool. I like red carpets and shit, but I'm talking like Met galas is what I mean to say. Things like that, where everybody shows up in the monkey suits and you all sit there and clap and like, just do this fake Hollywood shit. That's what most people on average think is cringy, So it's just who it's coming from. And he says, every time I put work into the world, I got 150 critics deciding its fate. Y'all are weak as fuck. No, we're not weak as fuck. People aren't weak as fuck. People aren't weak. It's just Roman has fans. So what's the difference between those people being critical towards you because you're choosing to be an internet Twitter spurg, right, Paul Walter Hauser? So you're inviting people to spurg out back. Like you put a film in the world, 150 film critics are going to critique your film, good or bad. You do spurgy time on Twitter, and 100 spurgs are going to come and fucking tell you why you're wrong or right. I just like... how do you not understand how the internet works? I just really don't understand it, So again, it just goes above. It's the same thing with Will Ospreay. It's like you guys are like, you really lack logic. It's like rich guy shit. You get $1 million a year later, you're a full-blown fucking redact, You got Mr. Garrison.
Retard alert! Retard alert, class!
You lose your goddamn mind or something. I don't know what happens, but It's like they're putting something on the money that just makes you lose logic. So, this guy goes, damn, trying to get a match with him, or do you actually think that little of the biggest professional wrestler of the last decade? And again, this guy brings up Darby and Kenny Omega, and same with Ospreay. He's bringing up Kenny Omega and Okada and shit, and it's like, shut up. But Paul Walter Hauser says, I think Roman is incredible, but when you make a choice to support King Dumbass amidst a resume of disgusting behavior, you lose me, man. Say you're physically ill, say your kids are sick, make up an excuse. Don't go join the brain-rotted end of democracy parade. So in what way was it an end of democracy parade when Dana White literally, and I give him points for this, he put democracy on display. He made the fighters do like a gimmick, and Dana's not a gimmick guy, and maybe it's TKO doing this, but some of the fighters wore the red gloves and some of them wore the blue gloves, and that visually represents both parties and shit. Like, you just didn't watch it and you're triggered. And if it was Meg the Stallion twerking at a Kamala Harris rally, you wouldn't tweet your fellow actor in the business of show and be like, that's disgusting, distasteful, brain rotted. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Like, where were you? Are you just triggered by wrestling because Tone's your friend and shit? It's like uber mega sicko energy, dude. That's all it's giving off. And again, I'm not saying either side political, none of that shit. But why aren't you getting mad at her then when she twerked at that rally? Because it's just, you really don't like Trump is what it's about. Okay. That's your prerogative. But now you're lashing out on Roman, calling him a dork. Like, for instance, I don't fucking dislike all the wrestlers in AEW because I think some of the people running AEW are dumbasses, right? So he's just incredibly jealous of Roman, that Roman's in Street Fighter and is the top wrestler of all time and is fucking good looking and is and all of these things. That's the only energy it's giving off. It's just you guys are sad that you weren't invited. See, here's the thing, right? Tone. So Paul Walter Hauser, they bring Donald Trump out at a bunch of fucking UFC events. Tone has been to UFC events and gotten them, pulled strings so that UFC would show Tone on camera with Jim Ross and shit like that in the past. And they go, AEW owner, Tone and MJF, I believe. He's done that in the past. So is that joining the goofball parade party, or is it just this one event? Okay? Because they bring Trump out to all the fucking fights, man. And you're calling it the goofball parade while Tone is sitting there going, I can't wait to work with Paramount. Guess all the people who were there at the goofball parade, at the end of democracy goofball brain rot parade, Paul Walter Hauser. Now, you don't have to agree with what these motherfuckers are doing in the world. I'm sure many people don't right now. That's besides the point. The point is, why aren't you crying when MJF went to a UFC event? Why aren't you crying when Tone's like, I can't wait to work with Paramount? Again, I repeat, who the fuck do you think was at UFC Freedom 250 sitting in the crowd? And I hate to just pigeonhole Walter Hauser as a sicko, but it's just giving sicko fucking energy in the way he's like Kenny Omega and Darby Allin. And then he's just wrong. Like, Omega's had a few matches more than Roman. It's like Omega's circling the drain, dude. He's fucking calling out Zack Sabre Jr. for a match at Forbidden Door. Like, it's hot garb. And he goes, I think Roman is incredible. No, you're calling him a dork because he has different political views than you. When you make a choice to support King Dumbass, okay, maybe he doesn't think he's King Dumbass. With a resume of disgusting behavior, you lose me, man. Okay, so what about Hangman Page? You suck his balls. He hangs out with a dude that everyone's like, that's a fucking P3DO. What about that? That doesn't, you're not spurging out when he becomes world champion and goes and attends the fucking team meeting at Cracker Barrel or whatever. Say you're physically ill, say your kids are sick. Maybe he's not a liar and he wants to go to the event. Make up an excuse. Don't go join the brain-rotted end of democracy parade. So again, this is like Dave Meltzer's low IQ, dumb fucks like WWE. So you're smarter than everyone and you're telling everyone how to think. You think, Paul Walter Hauser, that Roman Reigns is too dumb and he's a brain rotted and he's too dumb to make up his own decisions and what he wants to do? He's a father. He's a businessman. He's a superstar. He's a Hollywood fucking A-list film actor, becoming one, at least in action movies. I don't know, man. Sounds like cope. Sounds like big time cope. So yeah, Paul Walter Hauser blasts Roman Reigns as actual dork after White House visit. And so Paul Walter Hauser, this guy goes, it's funny that this is how we act when someone criticizes a company for taking part in anything that is run by a fascist sociopath like Donald. Paul has every reason to criticize, but at the end of the day, it's not just Roman, it's WWE. Roman is the face. He had to be there. No, it's not WWE. Guys. Oh my fucking God. If it was Joe Biden, just none of these people who say this shit would care. I swear to God. And I'm not trying to run defense for any fucking, it's just the fact of the matter. Okay. They would not give a fuck. So Paul Walter Hauser says nobody has to do anything. So that means he wants to do it. With power comes responsibility. Okay, Uncle Ben. There were plenty of A-list WWE talent not present. Maybe they weren't invited. It was an exclusive event. I've foregone invites to Hollywood events or parties that I felt were sketchy or not in step with my moral code. Okay, so Roman Reigns doesn't feel as though that event was sketchy or in step or not in step with his moral code. So you think differently than him. Have a cry. You know, like cry about it, buddy. Cry, you know, like what do you want anyone to do about that? You live in a country where half the fucking people don't agree with what you think, you know, and I wrote that. So Roman didn't think it was sketchy or against his moral code. You do this weird thing where you project what you think and feel onto everyone else as if they should think and feel the same way. And he did that with the Mick Foley thing. Okay? He did that with the Mick Foley thing. He's like, he's a top 10 of all time. And if you don't think that, you don't know much about the business. So Ric Flair doesn't know much about the business because he vehemently disagrees with you, guy. Okay?
I don't know.
I don't know why I hit Lex. I just needed to drop something. It's cooked. So, Paul Walter Hauser responds to this guy who says, damn, crashing out over a UFC show at the White House, but don't care about WWE in Saudi. Come on, man. It's all part of the same TKO problem. Maybe. I don't see how that event was a problem, though. And if Tone's excited to go to Paramount, then they should be happy because this brought a bunch of eyeballs to Paramount, and Tone himself said, I can't wait to be on the same thing as the UFC. The same network as the UFC and shit. Now, I know Paul Walter Hauser isn't Tone McCann. But Paul Walter Hauser is talking about, he's just using all of the same sicko talking points. Fuck TKO, fuck this event. We need to do a WrestleMania show. AEW needs to be involved. He's been in AEW. He brings up Darby and Omega AEW guys when talking, when being like, well, Roman Reigns, you're not. Why don't they demand acknowledgement when MJF wrestles more than you? Being a sicko. So you get lumped in as a sicko. Okay, Paul Walter Hauser? You're a sicko now. So yes, we bring up Tone. He's the king of the sickos. And I want to see the same criticism if it's about that or if it isn't just about your sickodom. I want to see the same criticisms levied against Tone, who said, it's great that they're going to be on Paramount with UFC specifically. Specifically. Okay? So Paul Walter Hauser says, I've never applauded or been in favor of WWE's Saudi cash grabs. They can perform there, but denying, and now listen to this, but denying all of us the likelihood of attending Mania next year feels pretty gross. Now, again, dude, it's like, this guy's such a dumbass, and this is what I mean by the pompous Hollywood, like, it's a fucking, the flyover states. And when Dave Meltzer does the whole poor people don't like AEW, it's just low IQ trailer park trash everywhere in the world except for where we live. I'm a Hollywood fuck. This is what Hauser's doing. And he goes denying all of us. So who's all of us? America? The likelihood of attending WrestleMania next year feels pretty gross. So when, most wrestling fans in America and shit can't go to shows in the UK and Australia, you know that, right? So when AEW does their biggest show in the UK, when you say all of us, like, what does that mean? People from the UK can't go to Saudi Arabia? WWE's doing Raw from London right before the Saudi show because, yes, they can. Like, so are the Saudi fans not real human beings to you, Paul Walter Hauser? I just don't quite get it. So it's gross that when AEW does All In at the UK in the UK at Wembley, that all of us likely won't be able to attend All In the UK because I live in America or in Canada. What about Grand Slam Mexico? Is it gross that they, like, what are you talking about? Very self-centered, very self-absorbed, very self-important, very fucking, like, speaking for everybody when it's not. If you don't agree, he's objectively, Mick Foley, one of the top 10. And if you don't agree, you're just very much like speaking for people who aren't asked, nobody's asking you to speak for them. Very much like projecting your ideologies onto other people and just assuming and thinking that they should think that way or else they're automatically in the wrong instead of being open-minded. That's what it's giving. Okay. So, and I think that feels pretty gross, Paul. And again, Ringside News writes this: unhinged Roman Reigns fans target Paul Walter Hauser's family photos after calling him a dork. Now, this is fucked up. And again, man, WWE fans are getting out of pocket. And I told you guys a long time ago, they're called the wackos. People online are like, what do we call the rabid WWE fans who are just as bad now as sickos? Well, the wackos, good sirs. We need to spread that around, okay? People go and tell everybody they're called wackos. But they're getting a little more kooky, and this is not cool. Like, what we not gonna do, as Will Smith would say, is attack people's families over fucking him calling Roman a dork. Go under his shit and call. I quote tweeted Paul Walter Hauser, I think 3 or 4 times to his little meltdown. And it was like a couple day meltdown, I want to say, but I don't get it, man. When you're reading scripts and training to become a good pro wrestler and being Chris Farley, and like, how much time are you spending on Twitter to fucking have little cries about Roman Reigns? I don't understand it. And what you do, if you're going to throw shade at Roman Reigns, which Conor McGregor has in the past, and Roman Reigns was like, Conor McGregor's the size of one of my fucking legs. And then TKO Group posted the OTC at the White House, live now on Paramount Plus, and it's Roman Reigns. And Conor McGregor hit him with a, who the fuck is that guy?
Wrestling's not fake!
And Conor's like, who? And yeah, I am with Conor on this a little bit. Like, it's good for WWE. Like, I pop for it as a WWE fan. As an MMA fan, I know how much like diehard rabid MMA fans don't give a fuck about pro wrestlers. You know? And there is some crossover there, and it's mostly the fighters themselves who are bigger wrestling fans. You'll notice this. The people the fighters themselves are way bigger pro wrestling fans than the fans are of like the crossover between MMA and whatnot. But I like this. I like to see Roman out there. But when Connor's like, who? He's speaking on behalf of the MMA world, and I'm with him on this for this event, because at most UFC events, they focus on legendary fighters. They do show a lot of athletes and celebrities. They always have, by the way, since day one. And Pride would do that too. And that's what you fucking do. Okay. But at Freedom 250, it seemed like everybody they were showing, besides the troops, obviously show them, obviously put over the Navy and all that shit. Salute fucking USA. But they were showing more like WWE guys. Tyson Fury got a whole walkout. They were showing like fucking boxers and celebrities. I think they showed Tony Hinchcliffe. Maybe not him. Or I think he was there. I think they did show him there. Yeah. So, and I'm sure he was fucking Toe Rogan's guest of honor. But at this event in particular, I get why McGregor's like, who the fuck? Because they don't allow Conor McGregor to fight at the Sphere or fight at the White House. Things he, as he said on the Ariel Helwani show, he'd like to experience. They make him fight in Vegas because they know if it's just him fighting, it's going to do gangbusters. So you can just pretty much build a card around him. You don't need a gimmick to really sell anything the way... Or like UFC 300, it's going to be a big deal. So we'll put Conor on a different show or whatever the fuck. UFC always does that, and TKO does that shit because they're money hungry, which is fine. And they also nickeled and dimed Conor McGregor, who revealed that they had to meet in the middle, and the number's the number. And he also revealed that TKO want him to fight in a year. So he's going to have his fight, and then he already has his date for in 1 year. And he's like, dude, I want to fight like 6 months later. He's like, but I want to fight right away. He's like, 'cause this is my actual run. I'm coming back. He's like, they want to fight me in 1 year's time. And he seemed pissed about the fact he even signed with UFC. He had to like force himself to be like, I'm being positive, Ariel. I'm positive. Right. But I like this. Conor McGregor calling TKO out a little bit and being like, who? At the UFC event, sticking up for his boys. So that's cool to see. But it was also cool to see Roman Reigns there and Triple H. Obviously, they were going to be there. And obviously, a bunch of celebrities were going to be there. And Paul Walter Hauser, you're a fucking mark. Just like me, dude. It takes one to know one. Okay?
You are a naive, brainless, pathetic, idiotic, clueless, dumbass mark.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was WWE. So, guys, I ask you the question, who is coping the hardest today? 1 for Will Ospreay, 2 for Paul Walter Hauser, 3 for TNA Wrestling fans, 4 for Dave Meltzer in the chat. I asked you this evening, and we will stop the poll, and tied. Will Ospreay and Paul Walter Hauser are coping the hardest today, and they are. It's a good tie. TNA Wrestling fans at 8% and 15% of you said Dave Meltzer. You know he's coping. You know, even if it's not anywhere public, he's coping.
Or, you know, the young superstar, you know, babyface, you know, that former heel thing. So,
guys, I appreciate you all for coming to hang out for members. Member Monday is going to be like Member Friday or something. I'll jump on and do that, make that up for you guys. Again, I had to get some dental work. Sorry if I sounded a little lispy or a little kooky today, but we made it through, and this was an amazing show. This show flew by tonight. Round of applause for the beautiful, gorgeous, sexy PWT universe. Always coming through. I appreciate you all. And we had such an amazing time. And make sure you check out patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes. Make sure if you're watching this on replay, you hype the video, hit the stars and hype the goddamn replay. I appreciate you all. On Saturday's show, we're going to do ratings wars, and we'll do some dirt sheet fails as well, more than likely. Possibly. We'll see. We always have such jam-packed shows. This was an incredible one. I appreciate you all. Dynamite was whatever. I mean, again, like maybe there's some shit I got to watch on Twitter to really see back, but are you pumped for Forbidden? I'm just pumped for the long, the whole day of wrestling. I'm excited for that part. I appreciate you all. Make sure you check out patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes. I've been Phil S. Marks.
You are
again.
a naive, brainless, pathetic, idiotic, clueless, dumbass Mark.
Until next time, be good to each other, guys. And go watch Michael. Tee.
Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guys, Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup, best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup, living legend of the fight. Just a call away from making it right. Never see him back hard, no way. Got the whole roster locked in for the day. A Crimson Tower, modern art. Triple cup. Triple cup. Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guys, Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup. Best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup. Living legend of the